Chapter 925. The brand new vulture slowly walked out. Her face was still the same as before. Her facial features were still the same. However, she looked like a completely different person. Her youthful charm was gone. Instead, it was replaced by a magical beauty and seductive charm. Her eye sockets had deepened, and her pupils had turned into a seductive purple. Her nose became high and pointed. Her lips had become plump and fiery red. Her face and even the skin on her body had become whiter. It was no less white than Wumaji's. It was similar to the whiteness of the white people on earth. Her face had also become longer. Therefore, although her facial features were still vultures, the contours of her face had deepened. Her entire face had become especially seductive and mysterious. The size of the airport that vulture had been brooding over previously was no less than Wumaji's. Her slender waist was as seductive as a snake's. In short, it was the purest form of a demon's body. Of course, she was still very different from a human. First of all, she had purplish-red wings on her back. They were purely the wings of a demon. Their shape was similar to that of a bat's, but they were more beautiful. Her ears were completely the ears of a demon. They were very sharp. Also, her jade feet had disappeared. In their place were the hooves of a demon. As for her hands, although they still had the appearance of human hands, they had especially sharp fingernails. They were long and innately purplish-red in color. Her hair was also purplish-red. She had turned from a one-in-a-million beauty into a peerless beauty at the top of the pyramid. Whoosh! She flapped her wings and flew in the air. She let out a hoarse and seductive voice. Yang Dingtian, you will soon see my revenge. I will make all those who have hurt me suffer a fate worse than death. Then, she let out an incomparably terrifying and seductive smile. She suddenly raised her jade hands high. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. In an instant, all the dark wyverns and dark colossal dragons within a few hundred meters were shattered into pieces and turned into countless energy. Then, it began to condense in her hands, revive, and transform into an even more terrifying flying dragon. Queen Devil Queen looked at all of this, and revealed a seductive smile. She slowly said, "The most crucial part of the Legion of Doom has been fixed." At this point, Vulture, who had suffered all kinds of humiliation and torture, finally welcomed the peak of her life and completed the most terrifying rebirth. Wolingzi had been wandering aimlessly for a few months now. In Yang Dingtian's words, this should be a very happy time, like an immortal roaming the world. However, to Wolingzi, he was like a walking corpse, completely unable to find any home. Just like that, he walked aimlessly at the edge of the world. He went to the coast of the East Sea, went to the extreme south, went to the east parting grassland, and went to the extreme West Sea. He wanted to find a place to stay, but he could not find it at all. He had stayed in the Vulture Palace for too long, nearly 200 years. As long as he left the Vulture Palace, he would feel like a lonely ghost, unable to find any sense of security. However, now the Vulture Palace had been completely reduced to ruins. There was nothing left. Even his own daughter, the most beloved spirit vulture, had been betrayed to Yang Dingtian by his own mouth. Right now, it was unknown whether she was dead or alive. He had become a true loner. His hatred for Yang Dingtian in his heart seemed to deepen day by day. However, he could not arouse the desire for revenge at all. It was not fear, but a kind of complete desolation. Just like that, he wandered like a walking corpse, wandering, until one day, Crown Prince Li Ming appeared in front of him. "Senior Wolingzi, it's time. I'll take you to the Temple of Annihilation," Li Ming said. Wolingzi looked at Li Ming. It was hard to tell whether it was anger or sarcasm. It was because of the appearance of Crown Prince Li Ming that he provoked Yang Dingtian, leading to the destruction of the entire Vulture Palace. At that time, when Yang Dingtian destroyed the Vulture Palace and captured the Vulture, where was Crown Prince Li Ming? He was completely sitting on the sidelines, watching the Vulture Palace be destroyed. "Thank you, Crown Prince Li Ming, but I'm old and don't want to travel thousands of miles." Wolingzi declined politely. Crown Prince Li Ming said, "At the wedding, you will see your daughter, the Vulture." She has completely changed now. She is only second to one and above millions. She has become a true ruler who can summon the wind and summon the rain. Walingzi said in shock. Wasn't she imprisoned by Yang Dingtian? Crown Prince Li Ming said. His Excellency Yang Dingtian is already in our hands. He will also participate in this grand wedding. Walingzi immediately gasped and said, It is the old slave's honor to be able to participate in young master's wedding. Then, please. Crown Prince Li Ming said. At the same time, Princess Mu Dan slowly descended to the Temple of Blood and said, Senior Dugu, it's time. Dugu Shao opened his eyes and said with a tremble, It's finally time? Yes. Mu Dan said. Oh, then let's go. Dugu Shao said. A few hours later, the lonely man who had been in seclusion in the joyous palace for many years also appeared behind Princess Mu Dan. At the same time, at the southern end of the first dark realm, at the border of the abyss, Dongli, who had not been seen for a long time, appeared at the border of the abyss. Behind him were more than 200 Fox clan experts. Leading them was Yao Li's brother, the young master of the Golden Ah clan, Yao Ming. There was also Jia's cousin, Yao Mi, the former fiancé of the Moro clan's young master, Yao Ling. That's right, the two factions that were originally at odds with each other in the Dark Realm had completely stood together. Because of Dongli, they stood together. Dongli had the void crack fire and could travel through the border of the abyss. Yongshi Wentian felt the great fissure in the Dark Realm, so he ordered Dongli to immediately enter the Dark Realm and bring the remaining Fox clan experts out of the Dark Realm. Therefore, just as Yao Ming and all the Fox clan experts were in despair, Dongli appeared in front of them and told them that he could bring them out of this damned Dark Realm and return to the Little Western Paradise. Moreover, there were no conditions. Not only that, he also showed them the token of the chairman of the Little Western Paradise. Therefore, Dongli had completely subdued the two factions of the Fox Demon clan. Then, he personally used the void crack fire to pass through the border of the abyss and arrived at the first Dark Realm. Now, they were about to leave the Dark Realm and enter the human countries. Dongli came before the young master of the Golden Ah clan, Yaoling, and bowed. Young Master Yaoling, I have a small favor to ask of you. Yaoling said. Sir Dongli is our savior, please tell me what to do. Dongli said. In a few days it will be the wedding of Prince Li Ming of the Temple of Annihilation. Before you all return to the Little Western Paradise, may I have the honor to invite you all to the Temple of Annihilation to attend the wedding? Yaoling only hesitated for a moment before saying, Such a grand occasion, of course I can't ask for more. Then many thanks, Dongli said. Then, he released the void crack fire and entered the abyss. The void crack fire split and split continuously, and instantly filled the entire abyss. Then, the black and white flames began to merge, and the entire abyss turned into a transparent crystal. Dongli said to young Master Yaoling, Everyone please, you can leave this damned dark realm. Long live! Instantly, the Fox clan experts who had defeated the Fox clan experts cheered excitedly. Then, one by one, they jumped into the abyss. 2 days later, a few hundred Fox clan experts and Dongli appeared in the northern sky above the snowy land. A few hundred people instantly turned into countless meteors and flew towards the west, north of Sky Demon City, the Toxic Sea region. An incomparably beautiful and enchanting figure suddenly rushed out of the sea. Flapping her huge wings, she instantly flew to a height of tens of thousands of meters, and then flew towards the southwest. It had been many years, and this was probably the first time the Devil Queen had returned to the ground. She passed by Sky Demon City, the land of chaos, the northwest continent, and the southwest continent. On the vast sea, she saw countless council of light warships. This was the strongest Tiando League in history. Compared to the Tiando League that Nihility Piaoling had 200 years ago, it was dozens of times stronger. Yang Dingtian had only used a few short years to unify the entire human country, and created the strongest war machine in thousands of years. He was really amazing. Unfortunately, he had met the Demon King Wentian, and the Demon King Wentian had coincidentally found evil energy, Queen Medusa, the ruins of the martial energy civilization from hundreds of thousands of years ago, and the incomparably huge empire of darkness. Therefore, no matter how strong the Council of Light was, in front of the Legion of Doom, it was just a child's toy. Queen Devil Queen flapped her wings and flew towards the south. Finally, she arrived at an island that looked like silver sand. This was the Netherworld Sea region. Sect Master Wu Yu, Queen Devil Queen has come to seek an audience. The surface of the sea was calm. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew, and countless amounts of seawater began to condense into a magnificent and devastatingly beautiful figure. It was the master of the Netherworld Sea, Wu Yu. How have you been? We meet again. However, should I call you Nihility Piao Ling or Queen Devil Queen? The face formed by seawater was still incomparably beautiful. Wu Yu slowly said. As you wish. Queen Devil Queen said. Did Li Ming send you an invitation? He sent it. Wu Yu said. However, I won't be going to Li Ming's wedding. Moreover, it's just a plot against Yang Dingtian, isn't it? No, it's the new Demon King's wedding. Queen Devil Queen said. Wu Yu's expression changed. Demon King's wedding, but the bride isn't me? Why should I go? Queen Devil Queen said. You already have Yong Shi Wentian. Wu Yu sneered. Is he Wentian? He isn't. The Wentian I love doesn't have this kind of personality, he doesn't have this kind of thinking. He has the most unconstrained thinking in the world, the most romantic feelings, and the most unswerving determination. Yong Shi Wentian is so feminine, so scheming, and so hypocritical. He's not the one I love. If you say that, he will be very sad. Queen Devil Queen said. Wu Yu said. Believe me, I've already tried. I can't do it. After that, Wu Yu said. Demon King's wedding, then who is the bride? It's definitely you, right? Not only me, there are 4 of them. Queen Devil Queen said. Moreover, the new Demon King is not only Wentian, Yang Dingtian is also among them. Wu Yu's body trembled violently. That means that I can become a true woman, can give birth to descendants, and can give birth to a demigod, right? That's right, that's the case. Queen Devil Queen said. Ha ha ha, pitiful Yong Shi Wentian, not only was he abandoned by me, he was also abandoned by you. Wu Yu laughed hoarsely. If you want me to participate in the wedding, that's fine, but I want to be the 5th bride. As you wish, my sister. Queen Devil Queen said. Time is of the essence, we should head to the shrine. Shrine, is there really a shrine? Wu Yu asked. There really is a shrine, and it will definitely surpass your imagination, the 5th bride. Queen Devil Queen said. Instantly, Wu Yu's peerless figure flew out from the sea. After that, the 2 beauties flew tens of thousands of meters in the air, towards the northeast. All the brides were here, and all the guests were also here. Chapter 926. Princess Mudan led Duga Shao, Guda Murin, Guda Wuhuan, Leng Ao, Yanjing, Shiminju, and Qiu Ruhan as they flew towards Sky Devil City. That's right, Shiminju, the undying cockroach, and the servant with the surname In, was still alive. This adopted son of Shimin Wuya first sought refuge with Yang Yan and Qin Xiaobai before seeking refuge with Qin Chichi. After Qin Chichi was defeated, he sought refuge with Zhu Qingzhu before seeking refuge with Ning Wuming. After Ning Wuming was defeated, he sought refuge with Wu Yuming. After Wu Yuming was defeated, he sought refuge with Princess Mudan. Now, he might have gotten what he wanted. He obtained Princess Mudan's 2nd-grade evil spirit, and cultivated for over a year in the Taboo Continent's illusory realm. As for Qiu Ruhan, she was once the mistress of the Northwest Qin city and Qin Wenchou's wife. Because of the Autumn Watersword sect, she broke off relations with Qin Wenchou and sold her own body to obtain Ning Wuming's 4th-grade evil spirit. Now, she followed the same plan and used her own body to exchange for Dongli's 2nd-grade evil spirit. Gudu Wuhuan, the young lord of the Joyous Palace, was once Dugu Fingwu's suitor. Similarly, he was the one who bestowed Princess Mudan's 2nd-grade evil spirit. There was another person, the servant by Queen Hai Xian's side. He was once the greatest trader of the mystic sky sect, the world-renowned shaman spirit master, Gui Wuzi. He was the #1 subordinate by Dongli's side in the grassland of Dongli. Therefore, he naturally obtained Dongli's second-grade evil spirit. There was another person, Xu Hongshua's younger brother, Xu Hongyu. As a hardcore opponent of the Council of Light and a resolute usurper of the mystic sky sect, he also obtained Dongli's second-grade evil spirit. These 6 second-grade evil spirits formed a team and cultivated for over a year in the Taboo Continent's illusory realm. In the illusory realm of the Taboo Continent, they had gone even further than Yang Dingtian. Therefore, the 4 of them had all reached the advanced martial grandmaster level. As for Dongli, he led hundreds of demonic Fox Clan's experts and landed in Sky Demon City. At this moment, the doors of the Shang Palace were tightly shut. The experts brought by Mu Dan and Dongli were like raindrops as they landed in the Shang Palace. The master of the Demon City's Shang Palace, Salambas, and his second wife, Kong Bauer, who had once tried to seduce Yang Dingtian, led a group of black-eyed experts and knelt neatly in the main hall of the Shang Palace. The Temple of Annihilation's head of internal affairs, Salomas, greets Princess Mu Dan and young Master Dongli. Then, he, the enchanting Kong Bauer, and a group of black-eyed experts all knelt down and kowtowed in unison. Yang Dingtian had suspected many times that the Shang Palace of the Demon City was the property of the evil ways, the property of the Temple of Annihilation. But in the end, all his suspicions were dispelled. And the facts proved that his guess was correct. Moreover, even Wu Yuming did not know about this secret. In fact, even Mu Dan and Dongli did not know about it before. The Shang Palace of the Demon City was only responsible for one person, and that was Prince Li Ming. And the entire Sky Demon City was, in fact, a city that completely belonged to the evil ways. The Shang Palace of the Demon City had controlled the economy of the entire human countries for hundreds of years. In these hundreds of years, the Shang Palace of the Demon City had provided an astronomical amount of resources and treasures for the Temple of Annihilation. And the food and meat supplied to the Snake People Empire. They were all provided by the Shang Palace of the Demon City. That's right, the Sky Demon City had been sealed for several years, but the amount of food and meat in their storage was astronomical. In fact, in the Empire of Darkness, any food and meat would not rot at all. Only the heavens knew how many strategic resources the entire Empire of Darkness had stored. Evil ways had failed every time there was an apocalyptic war in the past 1,000 years. However, the Temple of Annihilation had taken a different approach and dominated the world's economy for 1,000 years. Therefore, in the past few hundred years, the Shang Palace of the Demon City was the one who really called the shots and controlled more than half of the world. Whether it was the Tiando League or the evil ways, large-scale transactions, and currency circulation, they were all provided by the Shang Palace of the Demon City. After Yang Dingtian completely unified the human countries, the Shang Palace of the Demon City instantly declined. Not only did it decline, but it was completely deserted, and all transactions stopped. The demon coins that had been circulating for hundreds of years had also become trash. Yang Dingtian had completely sealed off the entire Shang Palace of the Demon City. Therefore, the Sky Demon City went from being the most prosperous city in the world to being the most withered city. Moreover, Yang Dingtian had wanted to completely occupy the Sky Demon City more than once, but he gave up every time. Because he had a vague feeling that this place could not be touched for the time being. As expected, it could not be touched. The Shang Palace of the Demon City was indeed the most important base of the Temple of Annihilation in the human countries, and even the only base. Soon, 2 streams of light suddenly appeared in the main hall. It was Prince Li Ming and Walingzi of the Vulture Palace. Everyone knelt down again and said, "Greetings, Prince Li Ming!" Even Dongli had to bow and salute. Only Princess Mu Dan had a calm expression. After Crown Prince Li Ming landed, he immediately looked at Peony, not bothering to hide his deep affection for her. "Dongli, you've worked hard on this trip to the Dark Realm," Li Ming said with a smile. "It's my duty," Dongli said. "I haven't congratulated your highness on your marriage yet, Ha! Li Ming laughed. "Oh right, brother, what are your plans regarding Netherworld?" Dong Li asked. Li Ming shook his head and said, "Him? He's gone. He's gone. He perished together with the dark matter." Dong Li said, "But the Devil Queen can melt the dark matter and rescue Netherworld, can't she? Netherworlds should have been completely suppressed now, or even destroyed." Li Ming shook his head and said, "Even the Devil Queen probably can't save him. An inconceivable change has happened." Dong Li replied, "What about that Ling Wu beside him? She should be in Cloud Heaven City right now. Do you want her to come and participate in your wedding and see how Yang Dingtian is unable to beg for death?" "No need." Li Ming shook his head and said, "She's just a small character. There's no need." Then Li Ming said, "Oh right, how's Dishi Bien?" Dong Li's eyes were filled with shock and said, "I can't believe it. Maybe she'll become the new ruler of the Underworld Empire." At this moment, there was a charming sound in the air. Then, everyone's eyes lit up. Suddenly, there were two beautiful figures in the hall. The Devil Queen and Sect Master Wu Jin. Suddenly, everyone knelt down, including Li Ming and Mu Dan. "Greetings, Your Majesty Devil Queen." "Greetings, Sect Master Wu Jin." Originally, there was no need to kneel to Wu Yu. However, there was no other way. Sect Master Wu Yu seemed to have an affair with His Majesty the Demon King. The Devil Queen glanced indifferently and said, "There's still one person missing." Crown Prince Li Ming said, "Who's missing?" "Vulture Palace, Wu Daozi," the Devil Queen said. When these words came out, Wu Lingzi suddenly trembled. He bowed and said, "Reporting to Your Majesty Devil Queen, Wu Daozi has been killed by Yang Dingtian." "No, he has a second-grade evil spirit in his body. Yang Dingtian can't kill him," the Devil Queen said. "He must have been sent to the Death Continent by Yang Dingtian using the void-splitting fire." When these words came out, everyone was stunned. The Devil Queen said, "Dong Li, come with me to look." "Yes, Your Majesty Devil Queen," Dong Li said. Then, he released the void-splitting fire, which kept growing bigger and bigger. Finally, a separate space channel suddenly split open, leading directly to the Death Continent, the channel of the Dark World. The Devil Queen jumped and flew directly into the channel of the Dark World. As for Dong Li, she also quickly rushed in. Suddenly, the dark door created by the void-splitting fire disappeared. The Devil Queen and Dong Li completely disappeared in front of everyone's eyes. Inside the Death Continent's dark world, Dong Li said, "Your Majesty Devil Queen, the void-splitting fire's dark door is random, so we don't know where Wu Daozi will be exiled to." The Devil Queen said, "Although it's random, there's a certain pattern. What level of void-splitting fire is teleported to what level of dark world? Your current cultivation is roughly equivalent to rank 13, which is 2 levels lower than Yang Dingtian. Therefore, Wu Daozi will not be more than 5,000 miles away from us." Then, the Devil Queen and Dong Li suddenly flew into the air. Whoosh! The Devil Queen released the Yang Heaven and Earth mystic flame of the Chaos attribute. Then, she released the Yin Heaven and Earth mystic flame of the Chaos attribute. After releasing to the extreme, they fiercely collided in the sky. Pa! Suddenly, a lightning bolt hundreds of thousands of miles tore through the entire sky. In an instant, the space of hundreds of miles was as bright as day. Within thousands of miles, one could see this resplendent brilliance. Dong Li couldn't help but be stunned, and said, "Devil Queen, you also know this?" The Devil Queen said with a smile, "Of course I know. Lightning is the unique talent of the Nihility race. Because, among the cultivation techniques we practice, there is the Yin-Yang Chaos formula. Of course, this is a simplified version of the pig's slaying sword technique. Moreover, the highest level is only equivalent to the simplified 4th level of the pig's slaying sword technique." Dong Li said, "Now, Yang Dingtian has already learned the 5th level of the pig's slaying sword technique." The Devil Queen said, "Yes, the 5th level of the pig's slaying sword technique, the Great Space Technique. It is the supreme martial Tao that our hidden sect has never come into contact with for generations. Therefore, Yang Dingtian will become a unique person. Wu Dozi had been exiled to the dark world for more than half a year. However, he felt that it had been decades, or even 100 years. This was a land of complete death. There were hundreds of times the gravity here. In the beginning, he was still desperately exploring, desperately running, wanting to leave this place. He wanted to return to the human countries to take revenge, to kill Yang Dingtian's family, to kill Yang Dingtian's Council of Light, all of them. However, no matter how he ran, he could never reach the end, and he could never escape the darkness. Moreover, the deeper he went, the heavier his body became. In the end, his body actually weighed millions of kilograms, and finally even tens of millions of kilograms. Even if he was a half-saint, he could not bear it at all and had to retreat. Then, he found the only light, which was the border of the abyss. He really wanted to jump in, but he clearly knew that he would definitely die if he jumped in. Although he did not know much about the border of the abyss, he had heard a little about it. Any life, even if it was evil spirit energy, would definitely die if they jumped into the border of the abyss. They would directly turn into ashes. After running for a few months, he finally gave up all hope and lay on the edge of the abyss. Day after day, he lived in a drunken stupor, and each day felt like a year. Why was he lying on the edge of the abyss? Because he wanted to commit suicide. There was a second-class evil spirit in his body, so he could not commit suicide even if he wanted to. The only way was to jump into the abyss. However, he was reluctant to die. He felt that he still had hope. However, he had become more and more desperate recently, and wanted to jump down more than once. Suddenly, in the distant sky, shocking lightning abruptly erupted. This lightning could be seen at least thousands of miles away. The first thing he thought of was Yang Dingtian. Only Yang Dingtian could burst out such shocking lightning. Suddenly, his fighting spirit soared, and his hatred soared to the sky. Yang Dingtian, you actually dare to come. I will definitely tear you into pieces. Even if I can't kill you, I will definitely die with you. Suddenly, Wu Dozi madly ran in the direction of the lightning. After a few hours, he arrived at the location of the lightning and saw two mermaids. Suddenly, his whole body shot out like a cannonball, and he shouted, Yang Dingtian, give me your life! However, halfway through, his whole body was suddenly fixed, and he could not move. An incomparably powerful energy instantly locked his whole body. Wu Dozi, we are here to take you out, the Devil Queen said indifferently. Dongli frowned and looked at Wu Dozi, who was currently as thin as a ghost, and said indifferently, This is Her Majesty the Devil Queen, why haven't you kneeled to greet her? Wu Dozi trembled, and then boundless ecstasy welled up. He said, I can go out. I can go out and take revenge? Then, he suddenly knelt down and kowtowed. Greetings to Her Majesty the Devil Queen. Many thanks to the Devil Queen, many thanks to the Devil Queen. Following that, Wu Dozi raised his head and said, Your Majesty the Devil Queen, may I ask how Yang Dingtian is now? How is the Vulture Palace? Dongli said, After you were exiled, Yang Dingtian invaded the southern barbarian continent. At this time, the Vulture Palace has already become a ruin, and the entire southern barbarian continent has already been occupied. Instantly, Willingzi was furious. He said, Then what about my granddaughter Ling Tuer? Dongli said, She left Yang Dingtian and wandered the world. Yang Dingtian, just you wait. I will definitely kill your family, your wife, your children, and your Council of Light. Wu Dozi roared fiercely. Dongli said slowly, That won't be necessary, because Yang Dingtian is now in our hands. He can neither live nor die. Moreover, very soon, there will be no more Yang Dingtian in this world. Really? Wu Dozi said with a trembling voice. Really? Dongli said. Once he hands over the greater space technique, he is worthless. Queen Devil Queen glanced at Dongli indifferently. It seemed that with the news of Yang Dingtian being imprisoned, Dongli also appeared arrogant and frivolous. Let's go back to the Temple of Annihilation, Queen Devil Queen said indifferently. Then, Dongli, Devil Queen, and Wu Dozi walked toward the door of darkness in the Skull Hall. A few hours later, they walked to the door of darkness. Donli released the void-splitting fire, and immediately the door of darkness turned into nothingness, directly connecting to the Skull Hall outside. The three of them left the dark world of the Death Continent and entered the Skull Hall. Inside, after waiting for less than an hour, a figure immediately came in. At this time, the door of the human kingdom had been occupied by the evil ways again. Then, the three of them quickly rushed out, left the Skull Hall, and entered the Forbidden Continent's sea area. A few hours later, the three of them returned to Sky Demon City and landed in the main hall of the Demon City's Merchant Palace. Then, the owner of the Merchant Palace, Salambas, opened the wall and turned a huge wheel. Suddenly, the entire hall kept falling down, 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 down. They didn't know how deep they fell. Maybe tens of thousands of meters, maybe hundreds of thousands of meters. Finally, the fall stopped. Then, a circular hole suddenly split open in the center of the hall. Below, there was a void, and under the void, there was surging dark matter. Queen Devil Queen took out her magic staff and flew directly into the hole. The primordial Naga on the magic staff released a bright light, melting a huge hole in the dark matter. Everyone behind followed closely behind Queen Devil Queen and flew into the hole. They passed through hundreds of miles of dark matter. Whoosh! Suddenly, everyone rushed into the Empire of Darkness. Queen Devil Queen led hundreds of people toward the center of the dark world, flying toward the Skirich Imperial capital. Looking at the countless huge dark castles, everyone was suffocating. In the Skirich Imperial capital, the Demon King Wentian said slowly, "Little brother Yang Dingtian, the bride and guests are all here. The wedding is about to begin." The wedding was about to begin. Chapter 927. Although the experts of the Fox Demon clan were able to leave the Dark Realm thanks to Donli's rescue, they still despised humans in their hearts. Whether it was the Tiando League or the evil ways in their eyes, it was just child's play. Although they had agreed to come to the Temple of Annihilation to attend the wedding, they had only come with the intention of watching the show. This kind of thought was somewhat extinguished when they saw the Devil Queen and Sect Master Wu Qing. First of all, they were shocked by the beauty of the Devil Queen and Sect Master Wu Qing. Even in the Little Western Paradise, their beauty was at the top of the pyramid and could not be matched. Moreover, only a few of them had seen Wu Qing before. Her status in the Little Western Paradise was very high. Not only that, but the cultivation of the Devil Queen and Wu Qing also made them lose much of their arrogance. When they entered the Empire of Darkness, their pride and backbone were almost instantly broken. In these huge dark castles, there were countless dark warriors, terrifying dark dragons, and all kinds of terrifying monsters. This level of power, even in the Little Western Paradise, would be completely destructive. Suddenly, Yao Ming and the others of the Fox Demon clan were filled with reverence, and even fear towards the evil ways. As for Wolingzi and Wu Dozi, it was a completely suffocating feeling. Although they were from the evil ways, they were not very excited. The Temple of Annihilation had such a powerful power, which meant that even if they were half-step saints, they would be completely subdued. Under the leadership of the Devil Queen, everyone flew to the Skirich Imperial capital that towered between heaven and earth. Immediately, Wolingzi said in a trembling voice, "Devil Queen, is this the Temple of Annihilation?" "Yes," the Devil Queen said slowly. "The Temple of Annihilation does not have a fixed location. Wherever His Majesty the Demon King is stationed, it is the Temple of Annihilation. Of course, it is a little petty to call it the Temple of Annihilation now. Its current name is the Skirich Imperial Capital." Skirich Imperial Capital, what a domineering name. This meant that the evil ways were no longer limited to just an evil. It was not even limited to the human countries. They were going to dominate the entire chaotic world and the entire world. And the Skirich Imperial Capital in front of them, no matter who saw it, they would feel a burst of suffocation. In this world, how could there be a building that was thousands of miles tall? One couldn't see the top of it, and couldn't see the bottom. In front of this magnificent, and shocking building of annihilation, anyone would feel incomparable insignificance. Under the leadership of the Devil Queen's lead, everyone slowly entered the Imperial Capital's Imperial Capital. It was an incomparably huge hall. Even the Silver Palace's main hall in the Silver Capital of the Little Western Paradise was not even 1/10 of this. Moreover, the ceiling of this Imperial Capital's Imperial Capital could not be seen. Suddenly, the Demon King Wentian's voice slowly resounded in the Imperial Capital. "Today is the most lively day in my Skirich Imperial Capital. The store is full of guests, it is truly delightful." A gust of dark wind blew past, condensing into a huge figure sitting on the dark throne. This figure was several hundred meters tall. Only 2 eyes could be seen, and they were like raging flames. When these words came out, Wu Yu's delicate body suddenly trembled. Then, Dongli and Li Ming trembled uncontrollably. Then, they directly knelt on the ground, lying motionless. Then, Walingzi's body trembled like a sieve. He directly knelt on the ground, unable to say a word. In the end, all the second-grade evil spirits, Wu Daozi, Ling Ao, Qiu Ruhan, Shiminju, Gui Wuzi, Salomas, Kang Baoer, Gudu Wuhuan, Zhu Hongyu, Yang Jing, and the others all neatly knelt down. This humble subject kowtows in salute to His Majesty the Demon King. Long live, long live, long live! Yao Ming and the other experts of the Little Western Paradise naturally did not want to kneel. However, the Demon King Wentian's aura instantly enveloped the Imperial Capital's Imperial Capital. It was completely like a huge mountain pressing down, causing everyone to instinctively bend their knees. All the experts of the Fox clan knelt down on one knee and said, "Greetings to His Majesty the Demon King!" For a moment, only the Devil Queen and Sect Master Wu Jin remained standing in the Imperial Capital's Imperial Capital. The Demon King Wentian slowly said, "Everyone please rise. Li Ming Dongli, you have worked hard." Prince Li Ming kowtowed and said, "Without your Majesty, there would be no us. You are our God, our Creator. We do not dare to say that we have worked hard." "Good," the Demon King Wentian said. Then, everyone present stood up. The Demon King Wentian continued, "Distinguished guests, please have a good rest. 3 days later, it will be an auspicious day. The wedding ceremony will be held in the Imperial Capital's Imperial Capital's Imperial Capital. At the same time, it will also be the war drums for the start of the World Destruction War. At that time, I will confer titles to all the meritorious subjects of the Temple of Annihilation. The countless Legion of Doom will be led by you to destroy the entire Tiando League, rule the entire human countries, and even the entire primal chaos world." As soon as these words were said, many people present were incomparably excited. The people of the evil ways present were at least second-grade evil spirits, and there were no more than 20 of them. This meant that each of them could lead an army of tens of millions. What kind of astonishing power was this? In that case, when the evil ways ruled the entire world in the future, how much land and how many people could each of them be conferred? For example, Qiu Ruhan, Shiminju, and the others were only a few leaders of small and medium-sized forces before. Now they had suddenly become one of the few great feudal lords in the world. Therefore, how could they not be excited? Gudu Wuhuan even shouted excitedly, "From now on, the evil ways will be the ruler of the entire world. All the people of the world will tremble under our shadow." As soon as he said this, his father, Gudu, glanced at him indifferently, and did not say anything. "Piao Ling, bring everyone to rest," the Demon King Wentian said. "Yes, Your Majesty," the Devil Queen said. Then, she led the hundreds of people present, and arranged their rooms. In the Skirich Imperial Capital, there were countless rooms. Not to mention hundreds of people, even thousands or tens of thousands of people could be accommodated. Suddenly, only the Demon King Wentian was left in the entire hall. Oh, there was also Yang Dingtian. He was bound to the dome hundreds of miles above by energy. The Demon King Wentian stretched out his hands and extended them until they reached hundreds of miles above. Then, he put Yang Dingtian down. Looking at Yang Dingtian's face, he spoke unhurriedly. "Little brother, originally, Everything should have happened when you were dead. But you and I are brothers after all. Therefore, I feel that it is better to do it when you are awake." Then, the Demon King Wentian carried Yang Dingtian and slowly flew to the dome of the Skirich imperial capital. Then, a stream of energy from his finger drilled into Yang Dingtian's body, and he felt it for a moment. Then, he said, "As expected of Yang Dingtian, as expected of the 9 Yang mystic meridians, as expected of the heaven-defying sea of energy. Even after receiving a saint-level attack from the Mermaid Queen, he still didn't die completely." Then, he silently chanted something like an incantation. He gently raised his hands, and Yang Dingtian's body immediately floated into the air. Then, countless rays of light extended from the dark castle to the Skirich imperial capital. Endless energy surged toward the Skirich imperial capital. This energy was incomparably pure. It was transparent and colorless, but there was a faint green color that was full of vitality. Finally, all the energy condensed above the dome of the Skirich imperial capital. From a complete energy body, it turned into a green ball of light that seemed to have materialized. Whoosh! Finally, this energy ball suddenly drilled into Yang Dingtian's body. Boom! Suddenly, an incomparably bright light burst out from Yang Dingtian's body. Yang Dingtian seemed to have slept for a very, very long time. There were no dreams. It was as if he had completely died. However, he didn't die. There was no evil spirit energy in his body, but there seemed to be an energy that was entwined around his mystic meridians, sea of energy, and mind. He didn't have a heartbeat, and there was no energy flow. It was exactly the same as death. Almost anyone would think that he was dead. However, in reality, he wasn't really dead. This was because his soul and mind hadn't completely left his body and mind, but he couldn't feel it at all. Then, a bright light hit him, and he suddenly woke up. "Ah!" He suddenly cried out in surprise, and then immediately sat up straight. Then, he desperately turned his head to look at the world around him. The memory in his mind was still the moment when he was struck by the Mermaid Queen's palm. This crazy Mermaid Queen could really do it. She was indeed vicious and merciless. She said that she wanted to kill him, and she really killed him. Yang Dingtian had already encountered 2 people like this. One was Dugu Fingwu, and the other was the crazy Mermaid Queen. However, this time, the Mermaid Queen's attack was much heavier than Dugu Fingwu's. Finally, Yang Dingtian noticed that there was a huge black shadow in front of him. It didn't have a body, and there was nothing. It was just a human silhouette formed by energy. The only thing that could be seen was a pair of flaming eyes. "Wentian?" Yang Dingtian said slowly. "That's right, it's me." The Demon King Wentian said slowly. "Perhaps you have seen me many times, but in fact this is the first time we are meeting." Yang Dingtian looked around and said, "This is the Temple of Annihilation of the Empire of Darkness?" Yang Dingtian sighed helplessly and said, "I still fell into your hands." "Yes, I am very happy and honored," the Demon King Wentian said. "After all, you and I are comrades, the child of destiny of the god of chaos." Yang Dingtian said, "You are doing this for the greater spatial technique, right?" "Yes and no," the Demon King Wentian said. "In fact, the greater spatial technique is only a part of it," Yang Dingtian said. "Then, what else do you want?" the Demon King Wentian said. "I want your everything. I want you to become the new Demon King. I want you to become the ruler of this world." Yang Dingtian suddenly felt a chill and said, "You want to devour me and take over my body?" the Demon King Wentian said. "No, the 2 of us combine into one and become one." In an instant, Yang Dingtian was completely shocked. Chapter 928. Instantly, Yang Dingtian couldn't help but laugh. "It's clearly your soul that has taken over my body. It's clearly a possession. Why do you say it's fusing into one person?" Wentian was silent for a moment. Then, he said, "You know that I transmigrated from Earth. I transmigrated into the body of a quadriplegic youth in the evil ways. His name is Wentian." Yang Dingtian nodded. Wentian said, May I ask, did I take away his soul and will? For a very long time, our souls coexisted and flourished together. Only when we were forced to, did our souls separate from each other. Yang Dingtian couldn't help but think of the demon King Wentian's past. It was indeed as he said. Moreover, the current eternal life Wentian was the soul of that crippled youth. Wentian continued, Also, you should know that my soul has been separated from my body countless times. Moreover, my main soul has already gone to explore the dark realm. As for where my main soul is now, perhaps you know better than me. Therefore, although I have soul convergence, my soul is already very weak. Do you think that I can still suppress your soul? Yang Dingtian. Then that's very strange. If you can't suppress my soul, how can you guarantee the benefits of the evil ways? Wentian slowly said. Primordial evil spirit! The moment these words came out, Yang Dingtian couldn't help but tremble. Wentian said, That's right. What I gave you was not only my soul, my wisdom, my will, but also the primordial evil spirit that I settled down in. Yang Dingtian. Being suppressed by the evil spirit and becoming a walking corpse, just like Dongli and Mu Dan. Wu Yuming knew that he would rather die than lose his freedom. He also knew that he would choose to perish together with the evil spirit. Do you think that I would accept becoming a walking corpse? Wentian was silent for a moment. Then, he said, Then do you think that I'm a walking corpse now? Yang Dingtian. Because your heart is the same as the evil spirit. You have the same goal. Naturally, it won't suppress your will. Wentian said, Primordial evil spirits are different from first-grade evil spirits. Do you know who the current Queen Devil Queen is? Yang Dingtian. Of course it's the Devil Queen. No, she is the Void Piaoling. Wentian continued. From her memories, to her will, to her love and hatred, they are all Void Piaoling. At this moment, she is still full of feelings for me and full of pity for you. It was just that she had changed her stance. The evil spirit of the primordial beginning changed her position, but it didn't change her mind. Yang Dingtian's pupils shrank as he recalled the Queen Devil Queen's every move. She was indeed different from Dongli and Mu Dan. Although Mu Dan still looked like Dongfang Bingling, she was a complete stranger to Yang Dingtian. As for the Queen Devil Queen, whether it was her tone or her appearance, he could feel that she was still the same Void Piaoling from before. The Demon King Wentian said, Therefore you, Yang Dingtian, are still the same Yang Dingtian. No one will suppress or control your will. It's just that your stance has changed. You have changed from the spokesperson of the God of Chaos to the enemy of the God of Chaos. Yang Dingtian. Then do I still have to control countless Legion of Doom to destroy the entire human countries and wipe out the Council of Light Legion? The Demon King Wentian shook his head and said, No, it's precisely because you want to avoid the Doomsday battle that you have to agree to become the new Demon King. Come, I'll bring you to take a look. Then, the Demon King Wentian brought Yang Dingtian and flew up. Suddenly, they flew to the top of the Skirich imperial capital, thousands of miles above, overlooking the entire Empire of Darkness. With one glance, Yang Dingtian was completely suffocated. The Empire of Darkness, which spanned tens of thousands of miles, had countless giant dark castles. Every dark castle was a city that spanned hundreds of miles. Countless energy tentacles connected these giant castles to the Empire of Darkness. In every giant castle, there was a huge energy array. In every giant castle, there was an astronomical number of Legion of Doom. 4 to 5 meters tall giant warriors. Thousands of meters tall dark dragons spewed out astonishing flames and heaven-defying lightning. Tens of thousands of meters long dark earth dragons with countless teeth could devour everything. Astronomical numbers. Densely packed dark shadow dragons were as fast as lightning and spewed fatal poison. And so on and so forth. On every giant castle, there were millions of Legion of Doom. And in the entire Empire of Darkness, there were countless such giant castles. Yang Dingtian was really suffocated. He had guessed that the Legion of Doom would be very, very powerful, but he had never thought that it would be so powerful. Originally, he had thought that he could take the Mermaid Queen and make the entire Sea Clan army change sides. instantly completing the reversal. Now, it seemed that this was how naive he was. The Legion of Doom didn't need the help of the Sea Clan army to destroy the human countries. "How's my Legion of Doom?" Wen Tian asked. "Invincible," Yang Dingtian said. "Compared to this, my Council of Light Legion is simply a child's toy. In fact, just 1 or 2 giant castles can sweep through the entire human countries and destroy the entire Council of Light army," Wen Tian said. "Therefore, the Doomsday War is not worth mentioning to me. What I want is not to win the Doomsday War at all. What I want is you." Yang Dingtian was silent for a long time before saying, "May I ask, where did this Empire of Darkness and this Legion of Doom come from? Were you the one who created them?" "No," Wen Tian said. "Little brother, you think too highly of me. I'm just a discoverer, a successor. This Empire of Darkness is an ancient ruin that has existed for a very, very long time. Maybe tens of thousands of years, maybe hundreds of thousands of years, maybe even longer. I just happened to discover it," Yang Dingtian said. "Then, was the primordial evil spirit also discovered in this place?" Wen Tian said. "This is directly related to the Empire of Darkness, but that's another story. When you completely inherit and possess the primordial evil spirit, you will know." Yang Dingtian didn't say anything. He was completely shocked by this doomsday army of darkness. Wen Tian continued, "I first excavated the eye of the primordial Naga. After passing through the incomparably thick darkness matter, I discovered the ruins of the Empire of Darkness. You can't understand the shock in my heart at that time. So, in an instant, the Doomsday War, life and death, it was not important. Hence, I started to plan everything. I had the power to declare war on the God of Chaos. Yang Dingtian, you want to save the human countries, you want to prevent the Doomsday War from happening. Very simple. You just have to become the new Demon King," Wen Tian slowly said. "At that time, you will still be the ruler of the Tiando League, the ruler of the entire human race. In the future, you will become the ruler of the entire primal chaos world. You will be the ruler of the entire world. Compromising in order to save the world is not shameful." "The Demon King," Wen Tian finally said. Yang Dingtian was silent for a long time. Then he said, "However, the only way you can challenge the God of Chaos is to perish together with him. You feel that the God of Chaos is controlling your fate, killing your family, your children, and destroying your soul. So, you have to perish together with him." "Perish together?" The Demon King Wen Tian's eyes shrunk. He said, "Who told you that I have to perish together?" Yang Dingtian said, "Isn't that the case? Even if you control the Empire of Darkness, the Little Western Paradise, and the Underworld Empire. Moreover, you want to use my greater space technique to completely release New Naga. That way, you will once again walk the path of crazy pursuit of energy, the path of ultimate strength. At that time, you will directly cause the primal chaos world to lose balance, and cause another doomsday war. The primal chaos world has already experienced several doomsday wars, but if another one happens, it will definitely be the last one. At that time, the last continent of life will be destroyed. The primal chaos world will be completely destroyed, and the God of Chaos will naturally die as well. This is your method of perishing together." The Demon King Wen Tian looked at Yang Dingtian for a long time, and then he said, "A very direct method. Using this method, you can indeed directly destroy the God of Chaos and perish together with him. But Yang Dingtian, perhaps I am not so narrow-minded." "Is that so?" Yang Dingtian asked, puzzled. "Yes," the Demon King Wen Tian said. "Look at this world of darkness. What do you think it is?" "It is the world of darkness," Yang Dingtian said. The Demon King Wen Tian said, "Don't you think it is like Noah's Ark after the destruction of the world? These huge castles, don't they look like Noah's Ark? The world of darkness is not a product of destruction, but a product of salvation." When these words came out, Yang Dingtian was completely shocked. Wen Tian continued, "Why is the Empire of Darkness in the heart of the dark matter? You also know that the dark matter is the symbol of the death of the primal chaos world, but in the heart of the dark matter there is a void. Inside is the rebirth after death. The Empire of Darkness is the product of the rebirth after the death of the primal chaos world. This is a kind of life after death. Therefore, the Empire of Darkness is a precious legacy left behind by the ancient civilization. It is the only hope for the continuation of the primal chaos world's civilization. Yang Ditian was truly astonished, and had been turned upside down. Wetian said, "Do you think that as long as the great nirvana extinction is avoided, the last primal chaos world can be preserved? Can it avoid destruction? You are very clear that under the sea, under the ground, the dark matter is constantly spreading, constantly devouring all life. Even if the great nirvana extinction is avoided, this primal chaos world will die sooner or later. Maybe in 1,000 years, 5,000 years, or even 10,000 years, the last primal chaos world will die sooner or later. Only here in the Empire of Darkness is true eternal life." "Eternal life?" Yang Dingtian sneered and said. "Your countless dark castles and huge energy arrays, where does their energy come from? Isn't it completely devouring the energy of the devil domain, the yin-yang mirror, and the world of ice and snow? The Empire of Darkness itself is accelerating the death of these 3 continents." "Ridiculous, ridiculous, ridiculous," Wetian said loudly. "That's right, the yin-yang mirror, the devil domain, and the world of ice and snow, these 3 continents have become like this because of the Empire of Darkness. However, the Empire of Darkness is definitely not letting them die. The entire Empire of Darkness is a kind of energy balance. The yin-yang mirror has the primal chaos attribute, the devil domain has the yang attribute, and the world of ice and snow has the yin attribute. These 3 types of energy balance each other, growing and multiplying endlessly, never ending." Yang Dingtian sneered and said, "What you are saying is that the energy of these 3 continents will cycle forever, never ending?" "That's right," Wentian said. "Ridiculous," Yang Dingtian said. "Then where does the energy of the Legion of Doom come from?" "The Demon King," Wentian said loudly. "Can't you see that all the Legion of Doom is pure energy? They can be shattered, and they can be reformed. Every individual of the Legion of Doom is closely related to the Castle of Darkness, the Empire of Darkness, the Devil Domain, the world of ice and snow, and the yin-yang mirror. They are a balance. The Legion of Doom doesn't eat, doesn't cultivate, and is just a body of energy. Therefore, this is a whole body where energy is constantly circulating. This is the eternal direction of the martial arts civilization of the primal chaos world. Only the Empire of Darkness is the ultimate way to avoid the end of the world, the ultimate way to continue the civilization of the primal chaos world. Therefore, this is not the Empire of Darkness at all, but the Noah's Ark of the primal chaos world." Yang Dingtian said, "What you mean is, after the dark matter completely devours the entire world, some of the people in the human countries will be led to the Empire of Darkness, turning them into energy creatures, never eating or drinking, and always circulating energy. Just like the robots on modern Earth?" "That's right, that's it," Wetian said. "The humans on Earth crazily want to take all the resources of the natural environment. The people of the primal chaos world crazily want to take Xianxi energy from nature. And here, all the energy is circulating. Of course, you might hate this Empire of Darkness, it's pitch black. But don't worry, you can completely rebuild it and make it bright and beautiful. You can even create rivers, mountains, green trees, and red flowers. The energy civilization of the Empire of Darkness can create anything." Yang Dingtian said, "Alright, since that's the case, I want to ask you something. In the Vitality Continent, the dark matter devours everything. That's just the initial state, the appearance of the continent after it started to die. It's the first dark domain, second dark domain, third dark domain, and even fourth dark domain. Do you think this Empire of Darkness can survive there?" Wetian was silent for a moment, then shook his head and said, "I don't know, so this is your mission. My wisdom, my knowledge, can only last until here, so the rest is up to you." Then, the Demon King Wetian brought Yang Dingtian back to the main hall of the Skirich Emperor's capital. He said slowly, You have about 3 days to consider, agree or reject me. Of course, no matter if you agree or reject, the result will be the same. You and I will become one, and you will become the new Demon King, the Emperor of the Empire of Darkness, the ruler of the human countries. But because you and I are of the same race, I want to respect your will." Then, the Demon King Wentian instantly disappeared. In the entire main hall, only Yang Dingtian was left. Chapter 929. What would Yang Dingtian choose to do? Even a fool would know that it would be a rejection. Although these words all sounded very reasonable. For example, Yang Dingtian wanted to become the new Demon King in order to prevent the world extermination war and the human kingdoms from being plunged into misery and suffering. For example, the Empire of Darkness was not to destroy the world, but to save the world. It was the Noah's Ark of the entire chaos world. For example, turning life energy into energy was the only way for the future of civilization to live forever. And so on and so forth. All of these sounded very tempting. Especially since Yang Dingtian had the primordial evil spirit. This way, he would only change his position, but he would still have his own will. He would still be Yang Dingtian. Moreover, he would still be the savior of the human world and the monarch of the Empire of Darkness. How tempting did all of this sound! The Tiando League and the evil ways would be completely unified. But there were only 2 questions. Why did you prepare so many Legion of Doom if not to destroy the world? In order to prevent the destruction of the world, Yang Dingtian chose to compromise. Then what was the difference between this and the theory of some shameless traitors in China? They said that since the Japanese army was so strong, in order to avoid unnecessary casualties, it was better to surrender. That's right, life was precious. However, only a free life was precious. Also, Wentian had repeatedly said that energy-based lifeforms were the eternal theme, the eternal of the martial path. Yang Dingtian did not want to refute this proposition. In fact, this proposition was too big. Even on Earth, many people suggested that the ultimate state of human civilization was a spiritual life and an energy life. But, even if that was the case, it would require a very, very slow and natural evolution process. Even the new Naga understood this point. The future Naga had to first achieve a spiritual breakthrough before they could talk about the change of the entire civilization. Like this, they would directly capture humans and transform them into energy life forms. What was the difference between that and death to humans? For the time being, humans could not eat, drink, sleep, love, or hate. What was the difference between them and a walking corpse or a robot? If a person lived like a robot, there would be no meaning to it. To put it in extreme terms, if the humans were to end up like the Legion of Doom, then it would be better for them to fight vigorously, even if they were all wiped out in the end. Hence, although Wentian's words sounded logical, they were all ridiculous and not even worth refuting. Therefore, what he needed to do now was to fight back. How to reverse the situation in the face of adversity, or even despair? Yang Dingtian walked around the huge temple of annihilation and arrived in front of the throne of darkness. At this moment, this throne was undoubtedly the ruler of the entire world. However, Yang Dingtian didn't care about it at all. It was just like Arthas in World of Warcraft. He ruled the undead empire, which was filled with zombies and ghouls. No matter how great his authority was, it was meaningless. Yang Dingtian walked to the entrance of the main hall, where he could neither ascend nor descend. Looking at the endless void, he really had the urge to jump down and fly. However, it was a pity that Yang Dingtian's Xian meridians were completely sealed, so he couldn't fly. Whoosh! Suddenly, a beautiful figure flew out of a window in the Skirich imperial capital. Then, she soared into the sky. This figure had incomparably seductive curves, and the pair of demonic wings on her back was especially seductive. Yang Dingtian couldn't recognize who this person was. However, this beautiful figure immediately discovered Yang Dingtian. She suddenly let out a cry unique to demons, and then whistled into the main hall. Then, she slowly said in an incomparably cold and hateful tone, "Yang Dingtian, how have you been?" Yang Dingtian was startled when he saw this face that was so beautiful that it was suffocating. It wasn't inferior to the Devil Queen's dead concubine's face. He almost couldn't recognize it. However, he soon recognized her. Vulture? It's actually Vulture? Yang Dingtian was incomparably shocked. Although Vulture was beautiful, it was at most 1 in 1,000 and was on the same level as Qin Jiajiao. Compared to Yan Yan and Ning Rouer, it was far inferior. The current Vulture's threatening beauty had directly overshadowed Ling Wu, who possessed a second-grade evil spirit. He was almost on par with the Queen of the Sea Heart, the Devil Queen's deceased concubine, and Princess Peony. Although it was still the same face, the outline had become so distinct. Her eyes had become so seductive, her lips had become as red as fire, and the bridge of her nose had become so three-dimensional and towering. It was as though the heavens had reshaped her face on a piece of jade. It wasn't just her face, even her figure had undergone an absolute transformation. Her devilish curves had almost overshadowed all the women Yang Dingtian had seen. Previously, she had always despised herself for being too flat, but now, she wasn't inferior to Wu Maji at all. However, she actually didn't have legs anymore. Instead, she had the hooves of a devil and a long devil's tail grew from her waist. You didn't expect that I would actually complete such a transformation, right? Vulture said coldly. However, I still have to thank you for torturing me and fulfilling my wish. Thank you for not sleeping with me back then, so that I wouldn't be foolish and fall into the abyss with you. If I had left with you back then, I wouldn't have such a gorgeous transformation today. Vulture stroked her face narcissistically and said complacently, Why? I'm more beautiful than your wives, right? Moreover, I'm much, much stronger than them. Don't worry, I'll return the harm you've done to me back to your wives and children tenfold, no, 100-fold. I'll make them suffer hellish pain. Immediately, Vulture waved her hand. Huff. Suddenly, one of the dark dragons outside shattered, turning into countless strands of energy that surged into the hall. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. Then, under Vulture's control, this huge dragon instantly turned into thousands of huge poisonous snakes and completely surrounded Yang Dingtian in an instant. The terrifying poisonous snakes coiled around him coldly and opened their bloody mouths at him, revealing their sharp fangs. You probably never thought that this day would come. Vulture sneered. You don't have the slightest ability to fight back in front of me. I can easily crush you to death. Under Vulture's control, countless poisonous snakes licked Yang Dingtian's face with their tongues and said slowly, Don't worry, I can't bear to kill you so quickly. I'll soon become the Demon King's wife. When that time comes, I'll definitely make you beg for death. I'll make all the people in the human countries who have hurt me, who have mocked me, I'll make them beg for death. Yang Dingtian suddenly remembered Wu Yoming's words. He must kill Vulture, otherwise the consequences would be unimaginable. In the end, Yang Dingtian did not kill Vulture in order not to anger Wu Lingzi. Instead, he imprisoned him in the torn space. It was very strange, the evil ways did not have spatial techniques, so how could they rescue Vulture? Did you hear that? This is what it means to be bullied by dogs. Suddenly, Queen Devil Queen's voice sounded in the air. She said slowly, Yang Dingtian, are you willing to see a villain succeed? Then, Queen Devil Queen's beautiful figure appeared in the main hall and said, Shura, let go of Yang Dingtian. Vulture was instinctively afraid, then raised his head and said, Why should I listen to you? Now we're in the same position. Queen Devil Queen looked at Vulture and said, Yes, you're in the same position as me. We're both the Demon King's wives, both Devil Queen. However, you've offended your future master. He will be the new Demon King. As soon as she said this, Vulture's expression changed instantly, and he said in shock, No, no, impossible, impossible. Queen Devil Queen said, You saw it too. His Majesty the Demon King is just a shadow. He will give the evil spirit of the primordial evil spirit, his cultivation, and the throne of darkness to Yang Dingtian. The two of them will become one. I can't do anything to you, but His Majesty the Demon King can easily decide your life and death. The beautiful Shura vulture's face instantly turned pale. She had never thought that she would become such a powerful and devastatingly beautiful demon Shura after going through so much trouble. She originally thought that she could trample Yang Dingtian under her feet, but Yang Dingtian had become the new demon king, her true master. Could it be that he was destined to oppress her forever? If I were you, I would kneel down and beg for mercy while it's still not too late. While he's still Yang Dingtian, still that soft-hearted little boy. When he becomes the new demon king, his heart will be as hard as iron, and everything will be too late. Queen Devil Queen said. Suddenly, Vulture's expression changed unpredictably. One moment it was full of anger, the next it was full of compromise. In the end, she suddenly knelt down and kowtowed. Big brother Yang Dingtian, I was wrong. Please forgive me. Don't lower yourself to my level. I think you have to do more. You have to do the most lowly thing a woman can do, Queen Devil Queen said. Vulture's delicate body trembled. Then, she gritted her teeth and crawled over, begging for Yang Dingtian's forgiveness in the most lowly way. Yang Dingtian blocked her forehead and said, No need. Okay, you can go back, Queen Devil Queen said. Suddenly, Vulture summoned countless black snakes in the hall, and they disappeared without a trace. She took a deep look at Yang Dingtian, and then quickly flew out. Did you see that? This is power, Queen Devil Queen said. This is the power of the Demon King. One moment in heaven, one moment in hell. If you are Yang Dingtian, Shura Vulture will completely trample you under her feet and madly take revenge on your family. If you are His Majesty Demon King, she will kneel in front of you and lick any trace of dust on your shoes. Yang Dingtian looked at Devil Queen and said slowly, The Demon King said that I can still call you Nihility Piaoling. Devil Queen nodded and said, I have always been. Yang Dingtian, then do you still remember what you said before you demonized? I beg you, save me, save Bing Ling, right? Queen Devil Queen said. Yes. Yang Dingtian, since you still remember this sentence, do you still insist on it? Queen Devil Queen nodded. Yang Dingtian, since you insist, isn't it ridiculous for you to persuade me to compromise now? You want me to defeat the evil spirit, but you want me to stay dormant? Queen Devil Queen said. If you don't come into contact with the evil spirit, you don't even dare to face it directly. How can you talk about defeating it? How can you save me and Bing Ling? Yang Dingtian, you mean, if I want to become a Buddha, I have to become a demon first? If I want to destroy the evil spirit, I want to feed the tiger with my body, right? Yes, Queen Devil Queen said. As a person, it is important to know one's own limits, Yang Dingtian said slowly. The current me knows almost nothing about the evil spirit, and I want to feed the tiger? Become a demon? You are a very good lobbyist, but your position has changed, so you have become less persuasive. Queen Devil Queen looked at Yang Dingtian indifferently, then looked deeply at Yang Dingtian. Remember, no matter what, there will be a wedding in 3 days. It will either be yours, or Li Ming and Mu Dan's. Think carefully. Then, Queen Devil Queen turned and left. Time passed in a flash. The 3rd day soon arrived. The Demon King Wentian asked Yang Dingtian, How is it? Have you thought it through? What's your choice? Yang Dingtian said directly, I refuse. The Demon King Wentian said, You should know that even if you refuse, it's meaningless. You can't change anything. Yang Dingtian nodded and said, I know, but I still refuse. At least it can represent my will. The Demon King Wentian said, If you refuse me, I will be sad. Not only will this not change the fact that you and I will be together, I will also do something that will make you sad. Yang Dingtian, betrothed Dongfang Bingling to Prince Li Ming, right? The Demon King Wentian nodded and said, Yes, I am also a person with emotions. I have given almost everything to you, and you have repaid me like this. Therefore, even if it is a small revenge, I will do it. I am not a person who is very scheming and likes to endure silently. Neither am I, Yang Dingtian said. The Demon King Wentian said, Promise that Mu Dan will not marry Li Ming. She will become your sixth bride. Your refusal will not change anything, but Mu Dan will marry Li Ming. Yang Dingtian. I refuse. The Demon King Wentian said. You don't care about Mu Dan anymore? Yang Dingtian. I am just going all out. I am going all out. All my care has become indifference. All my indifference has become caring. The Demon King Wentian said slowly. What you are unwilling to give up is your dignity and will, right? You are unable to put down your dignity and become one with me. You are unable to deny the path you have walked before, so you are unable to change your position, right? Most importantly, you are unable to accept becoming one with me and being unable to share everything with me, right? Yang Dingtian smiled noncommittally. The Demon King Wentian said slowly. All right, then watch how I abandon my dignity and ask for your inheritance. My beloved woman, Nihility Piaoling, can be given to you first and marry you first. There is also the Mermaid Queen, Wu Yu, Shura Vulture, and Queen Hai Xian. If you marry them first, it means that they are marrying Yang Dingtian and not some demon king. After they become your women, you and I will not fuse. You only need to accept the primordial evil spirit. You will become the complete demon king, and I will let myself vanish into thin air. Is that okay? After saying that, the demon king sighed heavily. Chapter 930. Yang Dingtian smiled. Even the most important thing had already been decided. There was no point in debating on such minor details. Yang Dingtian knew that regardless of whether he agreed or not, the wedding would still proceed. Moreover, it had to be done as Yang Dingtian. Why? Because perhaps only the independent and complete Yang Dingtian could allow Wu Yu and Hai Xian to successfully give birth to a half-god's descendant. Of course, that included the Mermaid Queen. Therefore, Yang Dingtian's attitude was meaningless. Of course, there were 5 brides. How many would be in the bridal chamber at the end? The Mermaid Queen and Yang Dingtian had already done what was supposed to happen. However, in order to ensure the success of the pregnancy, they would still have the most intimate relationship. As for the Queen Devil Queen, according to Yang Dingtian's guess, she might be in the wedding. However, there was no need to think about the bridal chamber for the time being. The Shura Vulture, in between, might or might not be the bridal chamber. Seeing Yang Dingtian's reaction, Wentian said, All right, this matter is settled then. Then, his figure disappeared into thin air. The bell in the Tongtian imperial capital rang. Then, hundreds of guests appeared in the main hall on flying dragons. They were dressed in gorgeous clothes. Hundreds of maids from the Demon City's merchant palace had become the maids of the Tongtian imperial capital. They shuttled back and forth in the main hall. The incomparably huge main hall had changed completely. All the gloomy darkness had disappeared. It was completely dazzling and brightly lit. Countless energy chandeliers floated in the main hall. Countless bright flowers and gorgeous tables were filled with all the delicacies that could be found in this world. Good wine, fresh fruits, and fresh fruits. Just the wine alone exceeded hundreds of types. Beautiful maids shuttled back and forth. All the guests had prepared incomparably gorgeous clothes. Moreover, the clothes were very strange. At least for the people of this world, it was very strange. All the men were wearing suits, tuxedos, ties, and bow ties. All the women were wearing gorgeous dresses and long skirts. That's right, they were all clothes from Earth. Without a doubt, it was personally designed by the Demon King Wentian. But it was strange that he had designed the dress in such a Western style. Of course, if one had a little understanding, they would be able to tell that these dresses had a strong style of the former Soviet Union movies, especially the War and Peace. Therefore, these dresses had a strong 19th century European style. Of course, the fox demons of the Little Western Paradise, whose civilization was already very prosperous, easily accepted this new style of clothing. They even started to like it. As for the people of the human countries, the women easily accepted this gorgeous and sexy long dress, but the men found it difficult to accept this brand new dress. They felt awkward and uncomfortable all over. Wen Tian's actions weren't limited to this. All the fine wines here were stored in glass bottles, and all the wine glasses were crystal clear. It was said that transmigrators had 3 inventions: glass, cement, and explosives. Now, the explosives were in Yang Dingtian's hands. Therefore, the Demon King Wen Tian made glass. However, his glass discovery was obviously only used this time. Hundreds of beautiful maids carried crystal plates with more than a dozen goblets filled with all kinds of wine. They shuttled through the crowd, asking if they wanted wine. And on the countless gourmet tables, the hot food was kept warm with the energy of crystals. Refrigeration, sashimi, and so on were kept fresh with ice crystals. On the dining table, there were chopsticks, knives, and forks. This was a large and luxurious buffet on Earth. It didn't look like a different world at all. It was still the Demon Fox clan of the Little Western Paradise. They easily accepted this method. In fact, the buffet method had been popular in the Little Western Paradise for a long time. Therefore, after a slight shock, they began to enjoy the delicious food and wine here. The Demon King Wen Tian, who was romantic, even arranged a large band. Hundreds of musicians in formal clothes played various movements with instruments from the primal chaos world and Earth. Of course, most of them were movements from Earth, and they were all very famous tunes. There were Beethoven's and Kunku operas. Perhaps he had been preparing for this day for a long time. In the incomparably lonely years, other than operating the Empire of Darkness, the rest was only waiting. These bands, these clothes, perhaps they were all works of his waiting time. Li Ming was very excited. He was wearing an incomparably gorgeous dress, and he was in a nervous and excited complex. Being able to marry Dongfang Bingling was his dream. However, it was also possible that when the wedding began, Dongfang Bingling would choose to commit suicide in her soul and spirit. Of course, the so-called suicide of the soul was to completely give up all resistance and let the first-class evil spirit completely occupy and suppress it. And her own soul would be completely imprisoned and eternally silent. Therefore, all he could do was to keep drinking. Then, he faced Willingzi, Wu Daozi, and many people's congratulations and flattery. The entire banquet had been going on for about 2 hours. The band's songs suddenly became passionate and passionate. Everyone instinctively quieted down. Although they didn't know what song it was, they instinctively felt that a big shot was about to arrive. Music had no borders, not even the barriers of civilization. The Demon King Wen Tian had appeared. He was even wearing a black ceremonial robe and a hat, even though he was just a shadow without a body. Immediately, everyone had to kneel down. No need. The Demon King Wen Tian said. Today is the wedding celebration, so there's no need to kneel. Then, the Demon King Wen Tian's flaming gaze swept across everyone present. In the entire hall, including the band, the maids, and the guests, there were already over 1,000 people. I've been waiting for this day for many years. The Demon King Wen Tian said slowly. This day is the greatest day in the history of the Chaos world. On this day, 2 civilizations have a great collision. When these words came out, all the Demon Fox experts raised their wine cups to show their respect. Of course, they didn't understand. They thought that Wen Tian was talking about the collision between the Demon Fox race and the human race. In fact, Wen Tian was talking about the collision between the Earth and the Chaos world. Today's wedding represents the end of an old era and also the birth of a new era. Then, Wen Tian's black shadow condensed a wine cup and raised it high. Let us bid farewell to yesterday and embrace tomorrow. Cheers! Wen Tian drank it in one gulp. He didn't have a body, so of course, he couldn't drink it in one gulp. However, all the wine had indeed disappeared into his shadow. And below the cup all the guests. Whether it was the Demon Fox race or the ministers of evil ways, all of them drank it in one gulp. In their hearts, they felt that the wedding of Crown Prince Li Ming and Mu Dan was naturally not the greatest day. However, when the World Extermination War started, it was definitely a great day. Hence, they were all celebrating the start of the World Extermination War. In fact, Whether it was Chiu Ruhan, Willingzi, or Willingzi, all of them were cheering in their hearts. They were excited about the end of the Council of Light, the end of Yang Dingtian. Not only them, even Leng Ao, Gudu Huan, Xu Hongyu, and the others were all congratulating Yang Dingtian. They were incomparably excited, waiting for the start of the World Extermination War. After that, they would lead the Legion of Doom and charge towards the human race, dealing a devastating blow to the high and mighty Council of Light, Yang Dingtian. Let us welcome the true main character of tonight, His Excellency Yang Dingtian! The Demon King Wentian shouted. All the guests were stunned. How did Yang Dingtian become the main character? But soon after they laughed. This was a mockery from the Demon King Wentian, wasn't it? The World Extermination War was about to begin, and the human race was about to be destroyed. As the supreme leader of the human race, Yang Dingtian didn't prepare for war. Instead, he became a prisoner. Was there anything more ironic than this in the world? A burst of intense drumming sounded. Then, all the energy lights in the hall gathered in one place. In an instant, the entire hall fell into darkness. Only one place was bright. Under the convergence of countless lights, everyone saw a figure. Yang Dingtian's figure. He was wearing a white tuxedo, and there was even a rose pinned to it. His Excellency Yang Dingtian, please come up, the Demon King Wentian said. Yang Dingtian took large strides and walked up the stairs step by step. And all the drumbeats followed his footsteps. All the lights were still gathered on his figure. Everyone had an illusion that the main character of tonight was really Yang Dingtian. Soon, Yang Dingtian walked to the front of the throne of darkness and to the side of the Demon King Wentian. Demon King Wentian was originally a black shadow that was several hundred meters tall. At this moment, he condensed his figure and became as tall as Yang Dingtian. At this moment, the lights began to separate into two beams. One beam shone on Wentian's body, and the other on Yang Dingtian's body. His Excellency Yang Dingtian, what are your thoughts about tonight's wedding banquet? The Demon King Wentian asked. Yang Dingtian. I don't have time to think about other things. But I have two thoughts. The clothes are beautiful, and the food is delicious. Thank you, it's my great honor to satisfy you. The Demon King Wentian bowed and smiled. Following that, Demon King Wentian continued. What do you think about the upcoming world-ending war? If he erupts, what do you think? By the way, everyone below you will basically become the commanders and generals of the Legion of Doom. They will lead the invincible Legion of Doom and completely shatter this old world. Then they will lead the entire civilization of the Chaos world to a new world, resist the tyranny of the God of Chaos, resist the evil rule of the body of Chaos. Yang Dingtian didn't have any response to this statement. The Demon King Wentian said, Then, do you want the apocalyptic war to break out? Yang Dingtian shook his head and said, Of course not. The Demon King Wentian said, Then do you have any way to stop the apocalyptic war from breaking out? Yang Dingtian. Not at the moment. Of course, I'm hoping that your Majesty Demon King will find your conscience. You clearly know that's not the answer I want to know. The Demon King Wentian smiled. Then, he raised his finger and pointed at the crowd. Finally, it landed on Willingzi. Immediately, a light condensed on Willingzi's body. At the same time, Willingzi's figure appeared on a huge reflection jade. Your Excellency Willingzi of the Vulture Palace, right? The Demon King Wentian said. Immediately, Willingzi knelt on the ground. This sinner Willingzi kowtows in salute to your Majesty Demon King. Long live the Demon King! If the apocalyptic war breaks out, you will become the commander of the southernmost war zone of the Legion of Doom. In the future, the entire southernmost land, the City of Gold, and the Snow Clan will be your territory. The Demon King Wentian said, Do you have anything to say? For your Majesty Demon King, I will do my best until my death, Willingzi said with a trembling voice. The Demon King said, Do you have anything to say to Yang Dingtian? Willingzi gritted his teeth and said, Kill all 9 generations, leave no one alive. Very good. The Demon King Wentian smiled and pointed at Wu Dozi. Your Excellency Wu Dozi of the Vulture Palace, after the apocalyptic war begins, you will become the commander of the Southern War Zone. Crack City, Cloud Sky Pavilion Xingzhou Continent, South Central Continent, and South Barbarian Continent will all be your territory. You can inherit it for thousands of years. Then, do you have anything to say to Yang Dingtian? Wu Dozi knelt down and said, Yang Dingtian's entire clan, skin them alive and tear their bones apart, kill them all. The Demon King Wentian pointed at Ling Ao's head and said, This is Ling Ao from the Yinyang School, right? Ling Ao knelt down and said, Ling Ao greets your Majesty, Demon King. The Demon King Wentian said, You are the most senior person from the Eastern Cloud Continent. Therefore you will become the commander of the Legion of Doom's Eastern Cloud Continent. In the future, the entire Eastern Cloud Continent, including the Yinyang School, will become your territory. Do you have anything to say to Yang Dingtian? Ling Ao said slowly. Kill them all, cut the weeds and dig up the roots. The Demon King Wentian said, Madam Chiu Ruhan, you will become the commander of Northwest Qin City's war zone. In the future, Northwest Qin City, Autumn Watersword Sect, and White Cloud City will all become your territory. Then, do you have anything to say? Chiu Ruhan said. Chiu Ruhan gritted her teeth and said, Yang Dingtian's entire clan, the men will be slaves and the women will be prostitutes. For generations, they will never rise again. Good, good, good. The Demon King Wentian said, Just based on your words, Shijing will also become your territory. Thank you, Your Majesty, Demon King. Chiu Ruhan immediately prostrated herself on the ground. The Demon King Wentian smiled and said, Your Excellency Yang Dingtian, did you hear that? Their hatred for you is very strong. Yeah, they're not very friendly to me, Yang Dingtian said. The Demon King Wentian said, They hate you so much. If the World Destruction War breaks out, how will you save yourself and your family? Yang Dingtian was about to speak when the Demon King Wentian stopped him and said, You don't have to speak, because you don't have the strength to stop it. You're too weak. Then, the Demon King Wentian's expression became serious and said, I officially announce. The groom of this wedding is Your Excellency Yang Dingtian. After the wedding, Your Excellency Yang Dingtian will become the new Demon King, the new ruler of the entire world. The moment these words came out, everyone was shocked like thunder. Chapter 931. The entire hall suddenly fell into a deathly silence. Everyone was unable to react in time. Immediately after, many people began to look at each other, wondering if they had heard wrongly. Yang Dingtian was clearly the greatest enemy of the evil ways. He was clearly the spokesperson of the god of chaos. Everything that the Demon King had said, everything that the Temple of Annihilation had done, wasn't it all to eliminate Yang Dingtian? Now, it was finally time to reap the rewards. Yang Dingtian was about to be completely destroyed, about to completely fall into hell. Unexpectedly, there was such a huge reversal. And Princely Ming was undoubtedly the one who suffered the greatest blow. All of his expressions instantly froze. The Demon King Wentian said with a smile, Perhaps many people will think that I'm joking, right? Everyone nodded with all their might, desperately hoping that this was just a joke. Even though that would lower the Demon King's style, it was better than this reversal. The Demon King Wentian's aura suddenly became incomparably serious, and he said, I'm very sorry, this is not a joke, but a fact. Immediately, Wu Daozi and Wu Lingzi almost fainted. Your Majesty Demon King, is this torture? First, he made Wu Lingzi, Wu Daozi, Chiu Ruhan, and Ling Ao declare that they wanted to exterminate Yang Dingtian's family, and even said that they would become slaves in the south and prostitutes in the women for generations to come, and that they would never be able to rise again. Now, he directly made Yang Dingtian the new Demon King. Then, wasn't that the same as making Chiu Ruhan, Ling Ao, and the others die without a burial place? Wu Daozi was still more unyielding. He mustered up his courage and said, Did His Excellency Yang Dingtian surrender? Did he also kneel at your feet? So, are you going to make him your successor? Hearing this, Prince Li Ming's expression became even more unsightly. The reason why he was called Prince Li Ming was because he was the first successor of the Demon King. Now Yang Dingtian was said to be the successor? How could he accept this? The Demon King Wentian shook his head and said, "No, I have not listed Yang Dingtian as my successor or successor." Many people heaved a sigh of relief when they heard this. The Demon King Wentian said, "He is my replacement. After the wedding, it might be tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. He would take over the entire empire of darkness and control the evil spirits. Not only will he be the ruler of the empire of darkness, but he will also be the leader of the human kingdoms. In the future, he will even be the ruler of many planes, including the Naga Empire." When these words came out, everyone present was suffocated. The Demon King Wentian said, "You didn't hear wrong, I'm not crazy. The reason for this is because His Excellency Yang Dingtian has a broader mind and a broader vision than me. Only he can lead everyone to conquer the entire Chaos world, defeat the God of Chaos, and lead the civilization of the Chaos world to eternity." When these words came out, everyone present was about to despair. Wu Lingzi even felt dizzy, and Wu Daozi was almost in complete despair. He was not interested in the civilization of the Chaos world at all. He only wanted revenge, revenge. Prince Li Ming's body shook violently, and then he said hoarsely, "Your Majesty Demon King, you are our creator. Other than you, we don't recognize anyone." "Yes, we don't recognize anyone. Not only Li Ming, but also Dongli, and Wu Daozi." In short, almost all the first-class and second-class evil spirits shouted loudly, wanting the Demon King Wentian to take back his order. The Demon King Wentian said slowly, "I'm very sorry. Whether you agree or not, you can't change anything. As long as Yang Dingtian has the primordial evil spirit, he and the Demon King's dead concubine will naturally have all the power. Whether you are a first-class evil spirit or a second-class evil spirit, you will have to completely hibernate under his will. The entire Legion of Doom will have to listen to any of his orders." When these words came out, almost all the evil ways present were in despair. Devil King Wentian spoke unhurriedly. "Not only that, the Devil Queen's dead concubine, the Hades Sea's Wuyu, the Mermaid Queen, the Snake People Empire's Sea Heart Queen, and the Celestial Spirit Master, Azura Spirit Vulture, will all become Yang Dingtian's wives. Today is their wedding day." Suddenly, Wu Lingzi could not bear it any more and directly fainted. Prince Li Ming suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood and said in a trembling voice, "Foster father, then what about my wedding?" The Demon King Wentian's eyes shrank and said, "As for whether Mu Dan will continue to marry you, I don't have the final say. You will listen to the decree of the new Demon King." Li Ming trembled violently and spat out another mouthful of blood. He could not help but recall every scene of himself and Yang Dingtian. He won every time and trampled on Yang Dingtian. In the yin-yang mirror, he was so proud. Yang Dingtian was like an ant in front of him. How many times did he play with Yang Dingtian in the palm of his hand? However, the heavens were just so unfair. Some people, no matter how many times they lost, could still easily trample on you. No matter how hard Prince Li Ming worked, no matter how hard he worked, he was just a laughable whetstone. Why? Foster father?" Li Ming said hoarsely. The Demon King Wentian said slowly, "Because he is Yang Dingtian." Li Ming bent down in incomparable pain, and then retreated into the crowd, his entire body bent down. At this moment, almost everyone had the same thought in their minds. The Demon King Wentian treated Yang Dingtian so kindly, as if he was the Demon King's illegitimate son. After saying all this, all the drinking and delicacies in the entire hall stopped. It was completely dead silent. The Demon King Wentian looked at Yang Dingtian. "Little brother, for you, I almost hurt all my followers." Yang Dingtian bowed slightly to express his respect. The Demon King Wentian suddenly raised his voice and said, "Okay, the most exciting moment has arrived. Play the wedding march!" Immediately, the band began to play. The extremely familiar wedding march sounded in Yang Dingtian's ears. This feeling was really strange, as if he was on Earth. The Demon King Wentian whispered, "Don't you miss everything on Earth?" "Me too. So, this is a gift for you, and also a gift for me. Although we can't go back, at least we can feel the Earth that we used to be familiar with," Yang Dingtian replied. "Many thanks. You have troubled me." As the wedding march sounded, suddenly, the entire Skirich imperial capital lit up. Then, all the dark castles outside lit up. The entire empire of darkness was completely bright. Then, countless energy fireworks were released in the void of the entire empire of darkness. Whether it was in the chaotic world, on modern Earth, or even on television, Yang Dingtian had never seen such a resplendent and grand fireworks party. Fireworks were everywhere in the empire of darkness. Incomparably resplendent fireworks. On the fireworks, lines of words from Earth bloomed. They were all classic poems from Earth. There was the Book of Songs, the three-character classic, Capital, and Mao Zedong's quotations. There was also Tangshir, Song Ci, Tagore, Hemingway, and Gorky. Finally, the fireworks in the sky also wrote the names of Yang Dingtian's wives and children. All of this was a gift for Yang Dingtian. Even Yang Dingtian was stunned for a moment, feeling that he had really become the illegitimate son of the Demon King Wentian. If he hadn't understood the dark and cruel truth of this world, Yang Dingtian would have been deeply moved. In the end, all the fireworks only had one pattern. That was countless hearts, red hearts, pink hearts, blue hearts, green hearts, and white hearts. Although the Demon King Wentian had given everyone unprecedented despair and shock, all the guests couldn't help but be intoxicated by this beautiful scene. It was too beautiful and romantic. Of course, Princely Ming was an exception. That was because his creator had actually prepared all of this for his enemy. The more beautiful the scene outside was, the more his heart was riddled with holes. Even all the struggles in the past had become meaningless. In the wedding march, suddenly, a purple-red light lit up on the horizon. Then, a gorgeous purple flying dragon dragged a purple-gold carriage and slowly flew over. On it sat a devastatingly beautiful woman wearing a purple-red wedding dress. She was the Queen Devil Queen. Immediately after, a blue light lit up from another direction. Then, a gorgeous blue flying dragon dragged a blue and gold dragon carriage and slowly flew over. On it, there was another beauty at the top of the pyramid, Wu Yu of the Netherworld Sea. The third beautiful flying dragon and its dragon chariot were golden in color. The woman on the carriage was graceful and not inferior to the mermaid queen of the void Piao Ling and Wu Yu. Next, the fourth beautiful flying dragon and the dragon carriage it was dragging was green. The woman in the carriage was also the pinnacle of beauty and power, the queen of the Snakeman Empire, Hai Xian. Finally, a pink flying dragon and a pink golden carriage appeared. Sitting on it was the enchanting and gorgeous Shura vulture. At this moment, it was her most glorious and arrogant time. She even forgot that the person she wanted to curry favor with was Yang Dingtian. She didn't care. In short, she only knew that she was one of the wives of His Majesty the Demon King. She had finally become one of the rulers of this world. She had finally stood at the peak of this world's power. The 5 brides walked down from the golden dragon carriage and walked into the hall. In an instant, the energy lights in the entire hall dimmed. All the light was focused on their wedding gowns and their beautiful faces. Every bride was so beautiful that it was suffocating. Every bride stood at the peak of the pyramid. Every bride made all the men in the world bow down to her. They were captivated by her dreams, but they were also ashamed of themselves. However, tonight, these 5 brides were going to become a man's wife. He really wanted to attract the jealousy of many people in the world. Then, without a doubt, this man should be struck by lightning. The 5 brides slowly walked along the steps towards the throne of darkness, towards Yang Dingtian and the Demon King Wentian. Everyone's gaze was attracted by their figures. Step by step, they had a myriad of bearings. No matter how beautiful their steps were, there would always be a moment when they finished. The 5 brides neatly arrived in front of Yang Dingtian and the Demon King Wentian. They weren't on the same level as the other girls. Instead, they stood in a beautiful diagonal line on the first step. The Queen Devil Queen stood in the first place. The Demon King Wentian came in front of the dead concubine, Nothingness Piaoling, and asked slowly, Nothingness Piaoling, are you willing to marry this new Demon King in front of you, the leader of this human kingdom, the ruler of this chaotic world? The Queen Devil Queen bowed slightly and said softly, I am willing. The Demon King Wentian asked Yang Dingtian, Yang Dingtian, are you willing to marry the Devil Queen, Nothingness Piaoling, as your wife? In an instant, everyone's eyes were focused on Yang Dingtian. Because this represented Yang Dingtian's ultimate declaration. Yang Dingtian did not let everyone feel uneasy for long. Instead, he said directly, I am willing. The Demon King Wentian took out a gem box and opened it. Inside was a resplendent ring, and the gems on it were all purple-red. He handed it to Yang Dingtian. Go put on the wedding ring for your Devil Queen. Yang Dingtian. It's better to use my own ring. Then, he took out a ring carved from nothingness stone from his bosom and slowly put it on Queen Devil Queen's jade-like finger. Immediately, the Demon King Wentian's flaming eyes trembled slightly. Because Yang Dingtian's actions represented an extraordinary meaning. The Devil Queen, Nothingness Piaoling, was also slightly stunned. Then, with a sweet smile, she let Yang Dingtian put the nothingness ring on her ring finger. Not only that, but Yang Dingtian also went forward and hugged her slender waist gently. He then kissed her delicate lips gently. In an instant, the temperature of the entire hall seemed to suddenly rise by a few degrees, but then suddenly drop by a few degrees. After kissing for a full 3 minutes, Yang Dingtian let go of the Devil Queen, Nothingness Piaoling. The Demon King Wentian paused for a moment, then walked down a step and arrived in front of Wu Yu. He slowly said, Lord of the Netherworld Sea, daughter of the former chairman of Little Western Paradise, Wu Yu. Are you willing to marry the new Demon King in front of you? Wu Yu first looked deeply at the Demon King Wentian, then nodded and said, I am willing. The Demon King Wentian looked at Yang Dingtian. Are you willing to take Wu Yu as your wife? Yang Dingtian nodded and said, I am willing. The Demon King Wentian said, Then put the ring on her, if you have prepared a second one. Yang Dingtian once again took out a ring carved from nothingness stone and slowly put it on Wu Yu's jade-like finger. Then, he gently hugged her beautiful waist and deeply kissed her. The Devil Queen's delicate body suddenly trembled. She clearly felt that her body was truly blooming for the first time. Chapter 932. At this time, the banquet had already ended. All the guests had returned to their respective rooms. Only the Demon King Wentian, Dongli, and Li Ming were left in the main hall. The Demon King Wentian directly leaned on the throne of darkness, and had once again transformed into a huge body that was several hundred meters tall. Li Ming stepped forward and knelt down, but did not say anything. You can't figure it out, right? The Demon King Wentian said. Yes, Li Ming said. Although Yang Dingtian and you come from the same world, he is still an enemy. The Demon King Wentian said. I shouldn't have given him everything. I shouldn't have been so good to him, right? Yes, Li Ming said. The Demon King Wentian smiled and said, Li Ming, how smart are you? But once you encounter jealousy, it will also blind your eyes. Prince Li Ming was stunned. The Demon King Wentian said, In our world, there is a saying called arsenic wrapped in honey. It means to use sweetness and beauty to wrap poison. Li Ming said. Then why do you have to treat him so well? Right now, he is fish on the chopping block, and I am the knife. No matter what we want to do, he can't stop us. The Demon King Wentian said. What I want is not only his body, but also his wisdom and memories. Dongli said from the side. Although he can be considered amazing, I feel that in front of foster father, he doesn't have any wisdom to speak of. The Demon King Wentian said. Pig-slaying swordsmanship, isn't it? Greater space technique, isn't it? If he suddenly takes things too hard and destroys all his consciousness and memories, what are you going to do? Dongli said. Then we should immediately complete the possession. Your soul should immediately occupy his body, The Demon King Wentian said. Is it that simple? Of course, it would be easy for my soul to directly possess him, but it would be very difficult to retain his intelligence and memories. He would need to completely give up resisting mentally and willingly become the new Demon King. Then I'll let my spirit rule over her body, and her soul will be suppressed by me forever, unable to turn over. Dongli said. Then there's no need to pay such a huge price to let her take advantage of the Devil Queen and woo you. The Demon King Wentian said. When I take over his body and infuse him with the evil spirit of the primordial beginning, he might not be able to give birth to demigod Naga. We can't rely on the humans for our great cause. In the end, we need the demigod race to inherit it. That's why it looks like a grand wedding, but it's just a borrowed seed. Dongli gritted his teeth. Although the matter of Queen Hai Xian becoming the meat on Yang Dingtian's plate made his heart bleed, he didn't dare to have any objections. Foster father is wise. Dongli bowed. The Demon King Wentian said slowly. From tomorrow onwards, I will have a perfect and incomparably powerful body. Are you guys not happy? Prince Li Ming felt uncomfortable in his heart. Although the new Demon King was still Wentian, at least the body belonged to Yang Dingtian. This kind of feeling couldn't be said to be good. However, he still kowtowed and said, Congratulations, Your Majesty. Congratulations. Yang Dingtian rode on the blue flying dragon and entered Wu Yu's bridal chamber. At this moment, Wu Yu was no longer wearing a wedding dress. Instead, she was wearing an even more languid and enchanting nightgown. Then, she knelt on the ground. In front of her, there was a chessboard. It was Earth's Go. Seeing Yang Dingtian enter, she smiled faintly and said, You're here. Yang Dingtian was no longer as brazen as he was in the hall. Instead, he knelt respectfully in front of her. Want to play a game? Wu Yu asked. Yang Dingtian smiled bitterly and nodded. Then, the two of them began to play Go. In the end, Yang Dingtian was beaten to the point of throwing away his armor. He couldn't even withstand a single blow. Wu Yu smiled and said, This is the first time I know that my Go skills are so high. I've never won before. Yang Dingtian said, That's because you've always been playing against the most powerful expert. Wu Yu lazily threw the chess piece to the side and said, AI, your Go skills are really too bad. You don't give me the mood to continue playing. Yang Dingtian couldn't help but blush to his ears. Wu Yu said, You're the second to enter my room. You must be trying to convince me. Then, you can begin. Yang Dingtian scratched his head for a while and realized that he couldn't say anything. To people like Wu Yu, it was useless to say anything. She wasn't Vulture. She wouldn't be easily changed by others. Yang Dingtian spread out his hands. He couldn't say anything. Wu Qiong propped up her chin with her jade-like hand and raised her peerlessly beautiful face. Seriously, I gave you a chance to convince me, but you can't even say a single word. Are you really that useless? Yang Dingtian said. I'm only good at doing. I'm not good at talking. Wu Yu said, You're reminding me that your specialty is in some special field. For example, making people pregnant? Yang Dingtian immediately blushed and said, I don't dare. Wu Yu smiled and said, Then let me ask you. Yang Dingtian nodded and said, Okay. Wu Yu said, You want me to stand on your side. May I ask, compared to Wentian, what advantages do you have? Yang Dingtian thought for a while and said, Our strength is on the level of heaven. Therefore, in general, I don't have any advantages over him. Wu Yu said, How can you say that? At least, you can let me have children. Yang Dingtian said, You're not that desperate to have children. What you care about is spiritual resonance. All the descendants of the speechless race are like this. Wu Yu said, Good. Then, do you agree with Wentian's future development trajectory? Yang Dingtian said, You're talking about the energy transformation of the entire civilization? Ridiculous. The most ridiculous thing in the world. Wu Yu said, You don't agree with the direction of development? Yang Dingtian said, I may agree with the direction. But that requires the self-evolution of the civilization, not directly entering the so-called energy transformation. Wu Yu said, "If you're the ruler of the entire world, how are you going to stop the arrival of the apocalypse? How are you going to let the civilization of the primal chaos world live forever?" Yang Dingtian was silent for a moment and said, "I think you don't care about this point, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't have been attracted by Wentian's traitorous sutra 200 years ago, and you wouldn't have helped him in his evil deeds." Wu Yu fell silent and said, "Is that how you see me?" Yang Dingtian nodded and said, "Yes, although you're the descendant of the fox demon race and the speechless race. But at least, I don't see any genetic inheritance of the speechless race in you. They're full of pity for the world, but I don't see this in you." Wu Yu thought for a while and said, "But they're full of despair for the world, so they'd rather destroy themselves. And I just happen to inherit this despair?" Yang Dingtian said, "If it's just despair, you won't be able to reach this step. You won't participate in the matters of the Little Western Paradise, and you definitely won't participate in this Temple of Annihilation ceremony. May I ask, you're usually very low-key, even if I kill your people, you don't care at all. But you still have to participate in some matters. Why are you doing this? What's your purpose in living in this world?" Wu Yu said, "If I say, it's because of my love for the Demon King Wentian that supports me to continue living, would you believe me?" Yang Dingtian shook his head. Wu Yu said, "Then tell me, what's my purpose in living?" Yang Dingtian thought for a while and said, "A bloodline of the speechless race who's indifferent to fame, fortune, power, and strength, and is full of despair for the entire world, then what's her motivation to live? It should be indifference, not caring about life or death, but it doesn't mean that she has to die. She should just live without care, right?" Wu Yu nodded and said, "You're half right. What about the other half?" Yang Dingtian said, "The other half, you should be the role of a bystander." "That's right, a bystander. The speechless race has always been an indifferent bystander, but most of the time, they don't even bother to be bystanders. You, on the other hand, only have half the bloodline of the speechless race, so you're still curious and have the mentality of a bystander. So, everything that happens in this world is probably a story to you, equivalent to the TV series on Earth." Wu Yu changed his position again, propping up his chin and looking at Yang Dingtian said, "Then, what about my love for the Demon King Wentian?" Yang Dingtian said, "The speechless race has no desires, so it shouldn't be any deep and strong love. So your love for the Demon King Wentian should be equivalent to the love of a housewife on Earth for the male lead in a TV series. Because when you're a bystander, you're gradually immersed in some emotions, so you can't help but have some feelings. So many women on Earth will also have a kind of love for the male lead in a TV series, and even fantasize about their intimate relationship with them in their minds." Suddenly, Wu Yu was slightly stunned. She looked seriously at Yang Dingtian, and then her two jade hands began to clap as she praised. "Well said, well said. If anyone calls you stupid in the future, I'll definitely disagree. You're very smart. Then let me ask you, do you think I still love the Demon King Wentian?" Yang Dingtian thought for a while and said, "I think the male lead in this TV series has changed. The previous one was the Demon King Wentian, and this one should be Yang Dingtian." Wu Yu pursed her lips and smiled. "Then, do you think I should fall in love with someone else?" Yang Dingtian said, "Your love is so illusory, it's normal for me to fall in love with someone else." Wu Yu clapped her jade hands again and said, "You're absolutely right. Many people think of me as a goddess, thinking that once I fall in love with a man, it will be for life, forever and ever. Even the previous male lead thought so and entrusted me with many things as a matter of course. But in reality, my heart should be a very illusory fantasy." Yang Dingtian's face suddenly twitched. He hated it when Wu Yu used this word to describe himself. Wu Yu said, "It's a pity that I've never been a complete woman before, so I can't do that kind of thing between men and women. Otherwise, I think I'd have experienced many men." Suddenly Yang Dingtian's brows furrowed even more. "What, you hate it when I say that, right?" Wu Yu said, "Only you men are allowed to have 3 wives and 4 concubines, but we women are not allowed to experience a few men?" Yang Dingtian closed his mouth and didn't say anything. Wu Yu said, Maybe you're going to say that you'll take responsibility for all the women you've slept with and marry them all, right? Don't worry, I'm not some feminist, I'm just a person with a very wild heart. Then Wu Yu smiled and said, all right, no matter how wild my heart is, my body has imprisoned me, to the point that I've become a chastity keeper of who knows how many years old. Even if I want to, I can't. Sigh. In this world, there are indeed 8 or 9 out of 10 people who aren't satisfied. Then Wu Yu poured a glass of wine and said to Yang Dingtian, I've said so much, do you understand? Yang Dingtian nodded. Wu Yu said, then explain it to me. Yang Dingtian said, your love is illusory and illusory. I don't have extravagant hopes of getting a firm promise or position from you. But I'm the male lead of this story, so you'll invest more emotions in me. In terms of position, you'll also be slightly biased towards me. Wu Yu said, your explanation is very accurate. What's the other half? Yang Dingtian. The other half is that you're not a chaste woman at all. You're curious. Even if you've never had an intimate relationship with a man, you don't care too much about this kind of thing. So I won't talk nonsense. Hurry up and get down to business. Wu Yu clapped and said, wow, this is telepathy, you know? Little man, you've seen through me. Then she drank the wine in the glass in one gulp. Then she gently crawled over and met Yang Dingtian's lips. She poured the wine into his mouth and said in a hoarse voice, a moment of spring is worth 1,000 gold. Don't just talk about it, let's rest. Then she and Yang Dingtian kissed deeply. Suddenly, Wu Yu whispered in Yang Dingtian's ear, little man, although I've done this kind of thing with you, it doesn't mean that I'll stand on your side. Of course, if I'm addicted to this kind of thing, I might have no choice but to be biased towards you. Who told you to be the only one in the world? Then, she let out a seductive laugh while attacking Yang Dingtian's nerves like water. At the same time, not far away, the demon king Wentian was sitting on the dark throne. His entire body was twitching and trembling. The flames in his eyes were burning and twisting. He was jealous, insanely jealous. There was also the perverse satisfaction of sacrificing himself. Su didn't know that in Wu Yu's heart, he had already lost his status as the male lead. Chapter 933. Wu Yu's snow-white jade-like body was incomparably languid as she hugged Yang Dingtian. At this moment, Yang Dingtian could feel that this was a woman with a very, very strong tendency towards perfectionism. It would be very, very difficult to obtain her love. It might even be impossible. This feeling is not bad. No wonder countless men and women are addicted to this. Wu Yu did not open her eyes. At this moment, even her voice seemed to be sticky. Wu Yu was completely using her nose to make noises. Okay, you can go. I will lie here alone and savor this feeling. Yang Dingtian asked. Then who do you think I should look for next? Wu Yu thought for a moment. You definitely don't need to go to dead concubine. She definitely won't let you off so easily. At least for now, she can only be Wentian's accomplice. So you are hesitating whether to look for Violets or High Xian, right? Violets was the mermaid queen. Yang Dingtian said. Wu Yu said, actually, your harvest for tonight should stop here. The biggest harvest is the Shura vulture. You have indeed left an indelible impression on her. Of course, I also gained a small harvest. However, it only stops here. Yang Dingtian was silent for a moment. There is still one more chance. I don't want to waste it, right? Wu Yu said. Okay, then go look for High Xian. Yang Dingtian nodded. Okay. But why not look for the Mermaid Queen? Wu Yu said. Violets is a crazy woman. She has a very strong rebellious mentality. If you don't look for her, in the end, in order to prove you wrong, she will instead help you. Yang Dingtian thought for a moment. This was indeed the case. The Mermaid Queen was a crazy woman. She would never do things according to other people's wishes. Wu Yu said. But do you know what you should do if you look for High Xian? Yang Dingtian said. I know. Seems like you are still quite clear-headed. Wu Qiong said. That kind of life and death situation happened to the Naga people. Not the Mermaid clan, not the Sea Serpent clan, not me, and not the Demon Fox clan. You should remember that Gia tried to kill you several times after she got together with you. After Violet's made up with you, she would kill you on the spot. That was why Queen Hyaxian was the same. She had feelings for you, but she definitely loved herself more. Of course, Vulture was also very selfish and loved himself very much. But she wasn't smart enough. She couldn't see through it and got lost easily. This kind of disorientation is not a bad thing, because she will also be disoriented to you. However, Hyaxian was different. She was very, very rational. She would never lose herself in front of you. If you intend to become the new Demon King, then you can possess her. But you will definitely resist, you will definitely not surrender, so she will definitely refuse to give herself to you now, understand? Yang Dingtian nodded. I understand. Very good. Wu Qiong said. Then you go. I want to be alone. I already feel that my bed is a bit crowded. This sentence should be quite heartless. But Yang Dingtian didn't show any expression. He was still thinking. After putting on his clothes, he rode the blue dragon back to the high platform. Wu Yu covered her chest and looked at Yang Dingtian's disappearing figure through the window. She muttered to herself, "What a proud little man." Then, without taking a bath, she hugged the blue blanket and curled up her mountain-like body. She sniffed the scent of the blanket and slowly closed her beautiful eyes. After returning to the high platform, Yang Dingtian rode the green dragon and flew towards the green bridal chamber. At this time, Queen Hyaxian was standing under the window, looking at the void outside. Her heart was very complicated. She wanted Yang Dingtian to come, but she also didn't want Yang Dingtian to come. First of all, she had feelings for Yang Dingtian. Of course, this feeling came entirely from the fact that he was the only man in the world who could make her feel horny. So, she wanted Yang Dingtian to come. But she also didn't want Yang Dingtian to come. After arriving at the Skirich imperial capital, she deeply felt how small and weak she was. She felt waves of humiliation. So, she wanted to be strong, strong, and strong. She didn't want to submit to anyone, not even the powerful Empire of Darkness, not even the incomparably powerful the Demon King Wentian. And once she started to conceive, she would become weak. She didn't want to become weak. Moreover, she clearly knew that Yang Dingtian wouldn't surrender so easily. So, it was very difficult to say whether he would become the new Demon King. Finally, if she and Yang Dingtian really broke through the last layer of their relationship, if she directly became pregnant, then, it would be time for Hyaxian to lose her freedom. She would definitely be imprisoned by the Demon King Wentian until the demigod Naga was born. And this Naga would definitely fall into the hands of the Demon King. Because of the above reasons, she didn't want Yang Dingtian to come. But Yang Dingtian still came. She rode on the green wyvern and directly landed on the platform, then walked into the room. Hyaxian didn't turn around. She was a little worried that Yang Dingtian would directly go up and hug her. Because this was the beginning of intimacy. She wanted to think of a way to refuse, but at this moment, it was really difficult to say no. However, her worries were in vain. Yang Dingtian didn't hug her from behind. Instead, he stood side by side with her in front of the window, looking at the void outside. Instantly, Hyaxian couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. And at this moment, Yang Dingtian still had a strong feminine scent on him. It was very strong, and it drilled into Hyaxian's nose and into her heart, causing her delicate body to heat up. Do you think I should be sad, or should I feel lucky? You finally came to find me. I was one of the 5 of the 3, but you're the last to find me. Queen Hyaxian said. Yang Dingtian, you didn't want me to come in your heart, so that you wouldn't have to make things difficult for me if I made any requests, right? Queen Hyaxian's delicate body trembled, and her breathing stagnated. Yang Dingtian's words were very simple, but it was very serious. It pierced straight into her heartless heart, her self-centered heart. Then Yang Dingtian, don't worry, I won't make any difficult requests of you, and I won't force you to choose a side. Hai Xian's eyes dimmed. She said, "Actually, you're already forcing me to choose a side. And this is also my last chance." Queen Hai Xian turned her head and reached out to measure the distance between herself and Yang Dingtian. She said, "Right now, you're the closest to me. If I take a step forward, we'll become lovers, and I'll become your woman. Even if nothing really happened between us tonight, or even if something did happen, we're not pregnant. But if I don't take a step forward, I'll completely lose this chance, right?" Yang Dingtian, "I'm not that strict." "You are." Queen Hai Xian said, "Right now, you're at your most desperate moment, and it's also your last moment. If I didn't have any feelings for you, just like Wu Yuan, at least my heart would be slightly biased towards you, and I'd be able to get your forgiveness. But I have feelings for you. But at this most desperate moment, if I don't stand on your side, that would be unforgivable." Yang Dingtian, "I still say the same thing, I won't be so strict with others. But your heart will be." Queen Hai Xian said, "You won't submit to the demon King Wentian, so you'll either win tomorrow or be destroyed. If I don't stand on your side, I'll lose my last chance. So now is the closest time for you and me. If I take a step forward and give myself to you, then we'll be lovers in the future, and we'll be together in life and death. And if I don't take a step forward, then I'll be an enemy in the future. At most, I'll just be a stranger. Not to mention, you still have Poisa." Yang Dingtian instantly fell silent. Although this seemed selfish, it was true. People were always more tolerant towards outsiders. But they were always more strict towards their own people. For example, when there was a dispute. If a bystander didn't stand on his side, it wouldn't matter. But if his family or girlfriend didn't stand on his side, it would be completely unforgivable. Of course, Queen Hai Xian was still a long way from Yang Dingtian's woman. But it was undeniable that compared to Wu Yu and even the Mermaid Queen, she was closer to Yang Dingtian. So, Yang Dingtian would instinctively be more strict with her. One had to know that Yang Dingtian was determined to kill her, then revive Queen Poisa and take over the entire Naga Empire. But because of Queen Hai Xian's performance in the Holy Valley's resistance army and the Naga Empire's Holy Land, Yang Dingtian was shaken. He had changed his mind about killing her, and had even tried to cook her raw rice several times after that. And Hai Xian had also acted emotionless and affectionate many times. So, now was indeed the most critical moment for Yang Dingtian, and also the most desperate, and even the last moment. If Hai Xian didn't stand on his side, although he wouldn't say anything and wouldn't do anything to her, he would completely shut her off and isolate her in his heart. Yang Dingtian looked at Hai Xian and said, "Then, what are you going to do? What are you going to choose?" He was less than 2 feet away from Hai Xian. Hai Xian stepped forward and handed herself over to Yang Dingtian. That meant that she wasn't just handing over her body, but also her position, and even many serious consequences. But if she took a step back, she would not be able to stop him. That meant that at this critical moment, she wasn't willing to stand with Yang Dingtian. Hai Xian looked at Yang Dingtian and smiled. "I won't make any choice. I'll let you make your own choice." Then she tugged at her green dress, revealing her beautiful body. "I'm standing right here. If you want me, you just have to take a step forward and you can easily have me. You should be able to see that I'm 2 feet away from you. So you just have to take a step forward, and everything I have will be yours." She was still very smart. To the Demon King Wentian, her identity wasn't as important as Wu Yu's. If Yang Dingtian took her, he would have to protect her and prevent her from receiving any fatal injuries. So, did Yang Dingtian have the ability to do so? Of course he didn't, so he naturally wouldn't step forward. So, in this world, there was a kind of rejection called acceptance. Yang Dingtian stepped forward and put the green dress back on her body. Then, he continued to stand beside her in front of the window, looking out at the void. More than half an hour later, suddenly, the Demon King Wentian's voice resounded throughout the entire Skirich imperial capital. "Your Excellency Yang Dingtian, the final moment has arrived. The time to abdicate and abdicate the Demon King has arrived! Abdicating and abdicating the position of the Demon King. How exciting was that? Queen Hai Xian seemed to have been awakened by this voice. She looked at Yang Dingtian and asked, You'll definitely resist, right? Yang Dingtian didn't deny it and smiled. Then, he used the water condensation pill to quickly rinse his body. He changed into a new set of clothes, then rode on the green flying dragon and returned to the main hall of the Skirich imperial capital. Along the way, the Mermaid Queen suddenly rushed out and looked at Yang Dingtian with bloodshot eyes. Why didn't you enter my room last night? Yang Dingtian. We've already had a good time. I'm afraid you'll beat me to death again. The Mermaid Queen Violets looked at Yang Dingtian's face and gnashed her teeth. I said that if you don't enter my room, the consequences will be very serious. You'll see very soon. Then, the Mermaid Queen suddenly flew back into her golden room. Bang! In an instant, everything inside was smashed into pieces and turned into dust. The Demon King Wentian's voice resounded throughout the Skirich imperial capital. Your Excellency Yang Dingtian, please come to the main hall to accept the abdication. All guests are to stay in their rooms and not take a single step out. After the abdication, the new Demon King's ascension ceremony will be held. Everyone is invited to attend the ceremony. The final moment had arrived. Yang Dingtian took a deep breath and rode the flying dragon into the main hall. Chapter 934. Yang Dingtian flew into the hall that was like a dome of heaven. The Demon King Wentian once again condensed to the height of an ordinary person and stood at the bottom of the stairs. Time is up, Your Excellency Yang Dingtian. The Demon King Wentian slowly said. Yang Dingtian nodded and said, Yes, time is up. The Demon King Wentian sat down at the bottom of the stairs and said, Let's sit together, how about it? Let's chat for a while. Okay. Yang Dingtian then sat down beside the Demon King Wentian. Wentian said, You've seen him, right? Yang Dingtian said, Are you referring to the one who went to explore the Dark Realm? Wentian nodded and said, Yes. Yang Dingtian said, I've seen him. Right, I want to ask, how many doppelgangers do you have? Who is the main body? The Demon King Wentian thought for a while and said, I should be the main body. The other doppelgangers went to complete side missions. And I monopolized the primordial evil spirit, as well as powerful energy cultivation, including the entire sea of qi, xian veins, and so on. Therefore, I should be the Demon King Wentian. Yang Dingtian said. Then, are there any doppelgangers of yours in the human countries? The Demon King Wentian thought for a while and said, There is a contracted body of mine. Of course, I might not need to use it. If you are the new Demon King, then I will completely retreat. The other doppelgangers of the Demon King in the other planes, including those in Little Western Paradise, the Dark Realm, and the Underworld Empire, will all obey your orders. You are the supreme ruler. Retreat naked? Yang Dingtian said with a smile. The Demon King Wentian said, although that's a strange phrase, you can indeed say that. Yang Dingtian. When you were on Earth, this term didn't exist yet. At that time, the senior leaders of our country held a lot of power even if they didn't hold any positions. Only after a few decades will there be cases of naked retirement. The Demon King Wentian smiled and didn't say anything. Yang Dingtian. It's strange. You and I are both from Earth, but you never talk about anything on Earth with me. You know, in New Naga, I had a very passionate chat with Wentian. We called each other brothers and drank until we were drunk. We put our arms around each other's shoulders as if we were university classmates. That's right, this was the Demon King Wentian. Although he didn't have a face, he was just a shadow. But after all, they were both from Earth. He had never talked to Yang Dingtian about anything related to Earth. Compared to him, the Wentian in New Naga was much cuter and very nationalistic. The Demon King Wentian suddenly asked, Do you miss Earth? Yang Dingtian nodded and said, Of course. Like my parents, friends, teachers, and my girlfriend. Wentian. Then do you want to go back? If you have the ability to go back, will you go back? No, I won't go back. Yang Dingtian. This place needs me more. The Demon King went in. Me too. I won't go back either. So, there's no need for me to talk to you about Earth. Yang Dingtian. Not going back doesn't mean that I don't miss it. Forgetting the past is tantamount to betrayal. The Demon King Wentian only shook his head and didn't respond to Yang Dingtian's words. Then, he stood up and said, All right, let's begin the abdication. The Demon King Wentian stood up and walked up the stairs to the throne of darkness. As for Yang Dingtian, he followed along. Damn, there were so many steps below the throne of darkness. There were hundreds of steps. Therefore, from the main hall to the throne, there was a height of 100 meters. Such a high and mighty throne really looked like it was looking down on all living things. The moment the Demon King Wentian walked up to the throne, he became hundreds of meters tall. He only sat for a moment and sighed. This is the last time I sit on this throne of darkness. It will be yours in the future. After sitting for a few minutes, the Demon King Wentian reluctantly came down. Then, he looked at Yang Dingtian. You sit on it and try? Yang Dingtian. Don't you think this throne is a little big? It's hundreds of meters tall and hundreds of meters wide. I don't have mystic energy, so I can't sit on it. You can sit on it, the Demon King Wentian said. Yang Dingtian tried to go forward and found that his body was constantly growing bigger and bigger. Suddenly, he became hundreds of meters tall, like a mountain, and slowly sat on the throne of darkness. In an instant, an inexplicable energy suddenly drilled into his body and circulated throughout his body. The moment he sat on it, he really looked down on the world. It wasn't just a feeling. He was really looking down on the world. In an instant, the entire human countries and all the planes became illusions in front of him. The moment he sat on it, he really felt that the world was in his control. It really felt like he was the ruler of the world. How do you feel? Your Excellency Yang Dingtian, the Demon King Wentian said. Yang Dingtian smiled and said, I've seen an American TV series called Game of Thrones. There's also a throne in it called the Iron Throne. It's made of many swords. That position is not comfortable at all. If you sit on it, your butt might be cut and bleeding. Although all the kings complain, all the kings don't want to come down after sitting on it, and countless people dream of sitting on that throne. The Demon King Wentian said. That's right. No matter what reason you use, denying the satisfaction of sitting on the throne is a kind of hypocrisy. Then, how is this throne of darkness compared to that Iron Throne? Yang Dingtian. They can't be compared at all. This throne is the ruler of the entire world, all the planes, and billions of lives. As for the steel throne, it was at most 1,000,000 square kilometers, a throne with a population of only a few million. Besides, this throne of darkness is really very enjoyable. You're an honest person. The Demon King Wentian said. Then I'll start my abdication. It's divided into 2 parts. We don't have the Imperial Jade Seal, or the crown. We only have the most direct energy. So, the first part is the primordial evil spirit. Yang Dingtian. What about the second part? The Demon King Wentian said. It's the control of the entire Empire of Darkness. To be precise, it's the control of the entire Skirich Imperial capital. It's also an energy body. With it, you can use your consciousness to control the entire Empire of Darkness, even if it's just one of the Legion of Doom. In the future, when the entire civilization of the Chaos world is energized and becomes an empire of enormous energy, you can directly control the fate of anyone. You don't need to use politics, the army, or any other means. You can directly control their life, death, wealth, and so on. This is the true supreme power. Yang Dingtian. This kind of power is really intoxicating. The Demon King Wentian said. Of course, in the end, the primordial evil spirit is the true power. Because it can let you inherit all of my cultivation. This is an incomparably powerful energy that can destroy the world. It's the true power that belongs to you. All of the evil spirit owners will regard you as their ancestor, as their master. After you become the new Demon King, you can still return to the human countries. At that time, your evil spirit tree can give birth to countless 4th class and 5th class evil spirits. If you want, you can let all the powerhouses in the human countries plant evil spirit energy. At that time, you can control everything about them just like how you control energy life forms. You can directly grasp the true supreme power. Yang Dingtian. This is even more intoxicating. Yes. The Demon King Wentian said, I will first bestow you the primordial evil spirit and all of my cultivation. But in this process, I will need your cooperation. Yang Dingtian. How do you need me to cooperate? The Demon King Wentian said, You have to acknowledge me from the bottom of your heart and accept my abdication. In the spiritual domain, you can't do the slightest bit of resistance. Otherwise, the consequences will be fatal. For example, Yang Dingtian. It will directly tear your divine sense to shreds. You will lose all of your wisdom, memories, and so on. The Demon King Wentian said, Yang Dingtian. Then you will become a walking corpse. It's very scary. Yes, very scary. The Demon King Wentian said, So you must remember, don't let any accident happen to our abdication. Yang Dingtian. Then, let your spirit and will enter my brain unimpeded. Then, completely suppress my will, but you can enjoy my memories and my wisdom. Then, you will inherit my greater space technique, my pig-slaying swordsmanship, and so on. And my soul and will be suppressed by you in the depths, never to rise again, right? Silence. The Demon King Wentian was dead silent. After a long time, the Demon King Wentian said, Your Excellency Yang Dingtian, you are really suspicious. Yang Dingtian. Just now, even though you pretended to say goodbye to the throne of darkness, I couldn't see any reluctance or pain in your emotions. You are so attached to the throne of darkness that you are sick. Now that you are about to say goodbye, why don't you twitch and faint from grief? The Demon King Wentian didn't say anything. Because you won't leave this throne at all. Instead, you will obtain a powerful body and have the greater space technique to continue your journey to other planes. You will become the new ruler of the human kingdom with my identity. You probably haven't slept with a woman for a long time. You can use my body to sleep with many women. Yang Dingtian smiled and said, It seems that you have given me the position of the Demon King, the Empire of Darkness, your women, and your everything to me. But in reality, you want to steal my body, my human kingdom, my women, and everything to me. The Demon King Wentian's face began to twitch. Yang Dingtian continued, Of course, you can directly use violence to take over my body. I won't have any room to resist. However, that would damage my brain. You should know that the greater space technique, the pig-slaying swordsmanship, and the like are very complicated. If you damage it a little, it can't be repaired. So, you have to make me willingly accept your soul. Also, in order for me to help you give birth to enough demigod descendants, you have to give me Hai Xian, Wu Yu, and the Mermaid Queen to sleep with. The Demon King Wentian's eyes began to narrow. Yang Dingtian continued, Finally, you gave me the throne of darkness to sit on and used the highest authority and the most beautiful beauty to bewitch me and make me addicted. In fact, I am not an ambitious person. I am different from you. So, when I sat on the throne of darkness, not only did I not feel intoxicated, I felt like I was sitting on pins and needles. Speaking of authority, I have been the ruler of the human kingdom for many years. The supreme power didn't make me feel good. Not everyone is incomparably ambitious. Maybe you have sat on the throne of darkness for too long, so you became a first-rate schemer. Just like in a movie, you are a first-rate director, but you are definitely a third-rate or fourth-rate actor. Your face is already cold. You have become an Iron Man or an Energy Man. That is why I said you are very strange. That Wentian in New Naga, we hugged, cried, laughed, drank, and chatted. Talking to you is really like talking to a robot. The Demon King Wentian looked at Yang Dingtian. You said so much, but there is only one meaning, and that is to reject the absolute? Yang Dingtian nodded and said, Yes. the Demon King Wentian said. Then you should also know that your rejection will not change anything. Your body will still be occupied by me, your women will still be abused by me, and your human kingdom will still be ruled by me. Yang Dingtian. But you will not be able to obtain the greater space technique, the pig-slaying swordsmanship, and the connection with the Shiwu Piaoyan in my mind, and so on and so forth. The Demon King Wentian said. Then I can first inject the primordial evil spirit into your body. It will suppress your will bit by bit, and I guarantee that it will not harm your brain and memory. Yang Dingtian. Is that so? However, Wu Yuming already has a lot of memory errors, so there are many typos in some of the things he left for me. There are even many words that he forgot how to write in Chinese and directly used the language of the chaos world. Please, the entry of the evil spirit is a kind of energy suppression against energy. It is like two energies fighting in the brain, and those memories are incomparably fragile. How is it possible not to accidentally injure them? The Demon King Wentian thought for a while and slowly said, If that's the case, then when I inherit your body, the pig-slaying swordsmanship and the great space technique will both be destroyed. He discovered that the pig-slaying swordsmanship and the greater space technique were incomplete. Then I will be very unhappy, and I will vent my anger on your women and your children. Therefore, what happens to them will definitely be very terrifying. Therefore, in order to avoid their misfortune, perhaps you want to let me smoothly obtain the things in your mind, right? Yang Dingtian spread his hands and did not say anything. All right, there's no need to talk nonsense. The Demon King Wentian said. No matter what the outcome is, your body is mine. Whether your spirit resists or surrenders, I want it. Then, many energy tentacles suddenly stretched out from the throne and firmly trapped Yang Dingtian. Even his eyeballs could not move. Then, the black shadow on the Demon King Wentian's body quickly dissipated. His entire body turned into countless green lights, turning into the outline of a human body. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Then, countless green lights suddenly shattered, turning into countless small figures of Wentian, and suddenly drilled into Yang Dingtian's brain. Chapter 935. The so-called evil spirit was an energy tree, but it didn't look like an energy tree anymore. From the looks of it, it was as if the body of the Demon King Wentian had suddenly grown countless tentacles. Countless tentacles, thousands of them. Each tentacle was hundreds of thousands of meters long. They danced crazily like snakes and dragons. At the tip of each tentacle, there was the Demon King Wentian's face. It looked like Wentian, but it didn't look like Wentian. It was completely twisted and slender. Ayo! Ayo! In an instant, the entire celestial hall was filled with ghostly wails and wolf howls. The Demon King Wentian's mighty figure became like a devil, like a malicious spirit, like a spider, like an octopus. Countless energy tentacles made his figure look very small as they danced wildly in the hall. The scene was chilling. Then, these countless energy tentacles drilled into Yang Dingtian's brain. Yang Dingtian, you are powerless to stop the evil spirit from entering, and you are powerless to stop me from entering. You should hate your weakness very much, right? That's why you seem so powerless in such a situation. You are right. On the surface, it looks like I am giving you everything. But in reality, it is I who want to take everything away from you. Take away your human kingdom, take away your wives and beauties, take away your children. The Demon King Wentian's twisted laughter resounded throughout the celestial hall. Countless tentacles had already wrapped around Yang Dingtian's head and drilled in. Originally, I should have endured a little longer. For example, after you learned the 6th stage of the pig-slaying swordsmanship, I would have taken over your body and taken away everything from you. But I really can't wait any longer. The feeling of being a person without a body is really terrible. Without a body, even if there is a supreme delicacy, you can't enjoy it. Even if there is a peerless beauty, you can't enjoy it. Living like this is really tasteless. So, I don't want to endure anymore. I want to directly take everything from you. I want to occupy everything from you. Now, it is time for me to reap my harvest. The feeling of having a body is really too It was as if Demon King Wentian had taken heroin. Even his voice was trembling and trembling. 200 years of loneliness, living without a body, and this empire of darkness had completely twisted him. Hence, Yang Dingtian could no longer sense Wentian's aura from him. He had become even more like a demon king. Yang Dingtian could feel the energy of the primordial evil spirit gushing into his body. That's right, he was completely powerless to stop it. He could only place his hopes on the dark green dragon in the depths of his energy reserve. It didn't matter if it was completely devoured or defeated. In short, he could only hope that the dark green dragon would completely destroy the primordial evil spirit. The dark green dragon was very lazy and selfish. Unless Yang Dingtian was about to die, it would not save him, lest it lose its host's body. Unless Yang Dingtian was in a life and death situation, it would not make a move. But now, it was a life and death situation. Yang Dingtian was shocked to discover that the dark green dragon had no intention of making a move. In fact, Yang Dingtian could feel that the dark green dragon was excited, drooling, and trembling with joy. That's right, it wanted to let the primordial evil spirit enter Yang Dingtian's body. Perhaps it wanted to make Yang Dingtian very strong. This way, it would not need to sleep in the depths of his energy reserve and would be active at all times. Perhaps it wanted to devour the energy of the primordial evil spirit, or fuse with the energy of the primordial evil spirit. But in short, the dark green dragon did not mind that Yang Dingtian was occupied by the primordial evil spirit, nor did it mind that the demon king Wentian was possessed. That's right, that was it. It was an extremely selfish creature. It did not care about Yang Dingtian at all. All it wanted was a host. As long as this host did not die, they would not turn into ashes. Everything was fine. As for whether Yang Dingtian was possessed by the demon king Wentian or not, what did that have to do with it? Even if Wentian was possessed, its host could become even stronger. It could also roam the depths of his energy reserve at ease, waiting for the day when it was strong enough to charge out. From this world, it would enter another world. Ha ha ha, hee hee hee. Yang Dingtian could almost feel the giant dark green dragon's excited trembling and sharp laughter. Instantly, his heart turned cold. The dark green dragon that he had placed his greatest hope in could not be counted on anymore. It could not save him, nor was it willing to save him. He was completely powerless to stop the primordial evil spirit and Wentian's soul from entering his body. Then, he could only watch helplessly as the primordial evil spirit and Wentian's soul suppressed him, never to rise again. Watch helplessly as Wentian took over his body, humiliated his wife, and trampled on the entire human empire. He could only watch helplessly, completely powerless to resist. He could only howl and cry. There was nothing he could do. No, no, no! Yang Dingtian would rather die than be willing to do this. The dark green dragon could not be counted on. Then it would be self-destruction. Wu Yuming knew that if she did not have freedom, she would rather die. The primordial evil spirit's tentacles had already coiled around Yang Dingtian's body. More and more tentacles had already drilled into his body. Yang Dingtian asked in his heart, "Sha Sha, are you ready?" Queen Poisa said gently, "I'm ready." Yang Dingtian said, "I'm sorry I couldn't revive you in the end." Queen Poisa said, "But we have already been together for a few years. There is no other relationship in the world that is more intimate than us. I'm already very satisfied that we don't separate from each other." Yang Dingtian said, "All right, then let's destroy everything?" "All right, let's destroy everything together." Queen Poisa's soul began to condense in Yang Dingtian's brain. Condense! As long as Yang Dingtian gave the order, it would fiercely hit the most vulnerable place in the depths of Yang Dingtian's brain. At that time, all of Yang Dingtian's memories, all of his knowledge, would instantly shatter into pieces. At that time, not to mention the primordial evil spirit, anything could not be repaired. At the same time, the soul sword in Yang Dingtian's soul ring also began to move. As long as Yang Dingtian's consciousness gave the order, the soul sword would fly out in an instant, and then in an instant, Yang Dingtian's body would be smashed into pieces and cut into meat paste. That's right, he wanted to completely destroy and shatter himself from his body to his soul. The destruction of his soul and body would be carried out at the same time. If he did not have freedom, he would rather die. Of course, courting death was what a coward would do. Once Yang Dingtian committed suicide, it meant that he would have nothing. It meant that his wives would completely lose their husbands. It meant that his sons and daughters would completely lose their father. It meant that the Council of Light and the human countries would lose their leader. Then, the only outcome would be the destruction of everything. Of course, it also meant that Yang Dingtian would completely fail. However, compared to Wentian occupying his body, Ling Wu's wife would ravage the entire human countries and bring everything to the abyss of destruction. Yang Dingtian would rather die. Moreover, this suicide was not just suicide. It was still a life after death. It was still a game with the black-green dragon. If Yang Dingtian committed suicide before the primordial evil spirit completed its possession, it would completely lose all of its possessions. Then, the black-green dragon would lose everything completely. Without a host, it would enter the chaotic world prematurely, and would only perish. Therefore, in order to protect itself, it must choose to defeat the primordial evil spirit. Whether Yang Dingtian could succeed or not depended on the battle of wills between both parties. Between him and the black-green dragon, whoever was weaker would lose. Both parties were gambling with their lives. The primordial evil spirit was still pouring in crazily. It was extremely careful and not violent. It even completely avoided Yang Dingtian's brain region. Its square formation was to first occupy the other parts of the body, including the Sea of Qi, Xian meridians, and the heart. Finally, it would surround the brain region. In this way, the damage to Yang Dingtian's brain region would be minimized. And if it directly entered the brain region from the beginning, then the damage to the memory would be immeasurable. Yang Dingtian could clearly feel that the primordial evil spirit had already occupied his four limbs. It would soon pour into the Sea of Qi and the heart. Once the primordial evil spirit entered the Sea of Qi and the heart, the consequences would be irreversible. Feeling the aura of Yang Dingtian's self-destruction, the black-green dragon was filled with uneasiness. However, towards the primordial evil spirit that was approaching the Sea of Qi, it was filled with endless greed. It wanted to let the demon king Wentian occupy Yang Dingtian's body and let the primordial evil spirit occupy Yang Dingtian's body. In this way, the Sea of Qi that it was residing in would instantly become tens or hundreds of times stronger. It would instantly break through above the saint level. That way, it wouldn't have to curl up in the depths of the Sea of Qi to sleep. Not only that, once the primordial evil spirit occupied Yang Dingtian's body, the black dragon would slowly devour and gradually merge with the evil spirit of the primordial evil spirit. It would crazily devour all the energy between heaven and earth. Finally, when the energy reached a certain threshold, boom! It would suddenly undergo nirvana. From a dragon that could only live in the Sea of Qi, it would become a fallen black dragon that lived in the primordial chaos world. At that time, Yang Dingtian's body, Demon King's soul and will, and so on would all become a part of this fallen black dragon. The fallen black dragon would become the peak of all the energy in the entire primordial chaos world, and would become the true ruler of the entire primordial chaos world. It would merge with the entire primordial chaos world, living and dying together. So, how could it give up such an excellent opportunity? The primordial evil spirit quickly approached the Sea of Qi and the heart, getting closer and closer. As for the black-green dragon, it became more and more excited and trembled more and more. It began to enter Yang Dingtian's final confrontation, the most determined confrontation. If Yang Dingtian wanted to scare him away, he had to commit suicide. As for the black-green dragon, it was incomparably greedy for the evil spirit and Wentian's energy, so it was determined not to compromise. At this time, it was a bet on who was not afraid of death. The black-green dragon did not believe that Yang Dingtian would really commit suicide, that he would really die. He. Yang Dingtian sneered in his heart and said, "Pulling a black-green dragon and perishing together with me is not bad. Ha ha! Let's perish together!" Yang Dingtian roared in his heart. In an instant, Queen Poise's soul fiercely struck the depths of Yang Dingtian's brain like lightning. At the same time, the soul's sword suddenly flew out from the spatial ring, crazily wanting to crush Yang Dingtian into pieces. Chapter 936. Once Yang Dingtian made his move, he was incomparably decisive. He used suicide to force the dark green dragon in his energy reserve to make a move and repel the primordial evil spirit. The first strike of the soul sword was directly aimed at the head. The dark green dragon was overwhelmed with shock. The demon king Wentian was also overwhelmed with shock. At this moment, no one could stop Yang Dingtian's soul sword. The demon king Wentian was currently using all his energy on the possession. He couldn't be distracted at all. Otherwise, he wouldn't need to empty the entire celestial hall. Therefore, in the face of Yang Dingtian's self-destruction, the demon king Wentian could only exclaim in his heart, "No!" However, he was completely powerless to stop it. Could the dark green dragon stop it? Of course it could. As long as all its energy surged out and completely collided with the primordial evil spirit, it could completely repel it. And Yang Dingtian's soul sword was completely controlled by his consciousness, so even if it had already cut into the head, it could still stop. However, at this moment, the primordial evil spirit's energy was very, very powerful. If the dark green dragon wanted to repel it, it wouldn't just be a lose-lose situation. Next, it might need to accumulate energy for a few more years to reach its current level. The dark green dragon was incomparably greedy. It would never be satisfied if it was allowed to devour energy. However, even if it spat out a little bit of energy, it would still be more painful than killing it. Moreover, it really coveted this primordial evil spirit to the extreme. It would need to spend a few years to slowly devour it and fuse with it. Therefore, it watched as the soul sword slashed towards Yang Dingtian's head. Seeing that Yang Dingtian was about to die, seeing that its host was about to die and be destroyed, it would also turn into ashes. However, the dark green dragon's reaction was to tremble, but it didn't move at all. That's right, it didn't move at all. Even if it watched Yang Dingtian die and then turned into ashes, it would definitely not make a move to repel the primordial evil spirit. It was so greedy. It was blatant here. Perhaps, it was dreaming that Yang Dingtian would give up and commit suicide at the last moment. This image reminded people of some extremely greedy wild beasts. It would desperately eat. Even if it would burst and die, it would never spit out any food. It was like a stupid animal. It was clearly being chased by a falcon in the sky, but it was still unwilling to give up the fruit in its hand. In the end, it was pecked to death by the falcon. The dark green dragon's greed, at this moment. Yang Dingtian's plan to escape death had failed. The dark green dragon would rather Yang Dingtian die than save him. Perhaps, in its heart, Yang Dingtian was as greedy and foolish as it was. Since it had failed, then that was death. Yang Dingtian's mouth revealed a decisive smile. And Queen Poise's soul in his brain, after a slight pause, was also filled with determination and charged forward. Yang Dingtian's near-emperor-grade soul sword was incomparably ferocious. It decisively slashed down at Yang Dingtian's head. Death had truly come. No! The demon king Wentian roared in his heart, but he couldn't move at all. Otherwise he would be turned into ashes. The dark green dragon trembled and screamed in its heart. This is a show! I can't be fooled! Whoosh! The near-emperor-grade soul sword slashed open Yang Dingtian's head. When death came, no one could stop it. Suddenly, whoosh! A beam of golden light suddenly shot out from the space ring. Then, there was a shocking roar. A naga dozens of meters long suddenly soared into the sky. The naga Shuang flew out like lightning and quickly grabbed the near-emperor-grade soul sword, preventing it from cutting Yang Dingtian's head in half. Then, the Naga Shuang opened its fierce mouth and fiercely bit at the countless evil spirit tentacles on the demon King Wentian's body. Ayo! 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 The dozen-meter-long Naga Shuang crazily bit at the primordial evil spirit. Although this primordial evil spirit was energy. However, in its mouth, it seemed to have substance. She crazily bit and devoured. Then, she pulled out the primordial evil spirit that had drilled into Yang Dingtian's body and swallowed it all into her stomach. In an instant, countless evil spirit energies surged into her body. She had rushed out at first because she had sensed the death of her lover, so she had woken up and rushed out to save him. But now, her pupils were completely bloodshot, and she had lost all consciousness in an instant. The only thing she had was an extreme greed for energy. This primordial evil spirit energy was so delicious. Normally, it was impossible to swallow it. Because the evil spirit energy would completely attach to the host's brain, Xian meridians, sea of qi, and heart. At this time, the demon King Wentian released the entire primordial evil spirit, and wanted to plant it into Yang Dingtian's body. Therefore, this was almost the only chance to snatch and devour it. The Naga Shuang crazily devoured and tore. The demon King Wentian crazily tried to stop it, crazily trying to stop it. He desperately tried to withdraw the primordial evil spirit energy back into his body. However, it was too late. No one could snatch the food that had entered the Naga's mouth. Just like any treasure that had entered the dragon's cave, no one could snatch it. The demon King Wentian's cultivation was more than 100 times higher than the Naga Shuang's at this time. However, all of his energy was controlling this evil spirit, and exposing it to the outside world. Unless all the evil spirits were pulled back into his energy body, his cultivation energy would not be able to enter his energy body. However, nearly half of the primordial evil spirit had been devoured by the Naga Shuang. Moreover, the moment the Naga Shuang appeared, he was completely shocked. Naga, the real Naga. His biggest backer was Queen Medusa. However, he had never seen the real Naga. At this time, a real Naga appeared in front of him. Moreover, it flew out of Yang Dingtian's body. Therefore, the first thing he felt was a kind of suffocation, a kind of terrible feeling. Suddenly, the entire celestial hall seemed to be in a tug-of-war. Half of the primordial evil spirit energy was in the Naga Shuang's body, and the other half was in the demon King Wentian's body. The two were crazily tearing and fighting. No! The demon King Wentian struggled crazily and tore crazily. Suppressing his fear of Naga, he attacked crazily. Even if the energy of his every attack would lose some control of the primordial evil spirit, he still attacked crazily. But unfortunately, Naga had a terrifying immunity to energy damage. In addition, it had devoured the energy of the primordial evil spirit, so it was even more unafraid of any damage. It was still crazily devouring the primordial evil spirit. It was completely and incomparably cruel and greedy beast. Although Naga Shuang's cultivation was not as powerful as the demon King Wentian's, but it was a demigod. In terms of devouring energy, no one could compete with her except the fallen black dragon. Moreover, after she devoured the primordial evil spirit, she quickly became stronger and grew rapidly. Her body went from dozens of meters to hundreds of meters, thousands of meters in an instant. In the end, she became a huge behemoth. Because she had devoured the primordial evil spirit, her entire body seemed to have become an energy black hole, crazily devouring all the energy around her. The Skirich imperial capital, which was thousands of miles long, was trembling. No! The demon King Wentian attacked crazily and fought for it. However, Naga Shuang's greed and devouring of energy was unparalleled and unrivaled. The demon King Wentian was worried that he would be turned into ashes. But Naga Shuang, in order to devour the primordial evil spirit, gave up everything, even her life. Just like that, Naga Shuang brutally dragged all the energy tentacles of the primordial evil spirit out of the demon King Wentian's body, and then swallowed them alive. The incomparably powerful primordial evil spirit was pulled out of the demon king's body like half of an octopus and then eaten all of it. After eating, Schwanger's body was completely golden, and she had completely turned into an incomparably ferocious Naga beast. At this moment, Naga Schwang looked very, very much like an ancient dragon. Her body, which was thousands of meters long, shook crazily in the celestial palace. The entire Skirich imperial capital was trembling. Roar! Roar! She let out a loud roar, and the entire empire of darkness was trembling. All living beings had to go into hibernation. The demon king Wentian, who had completely lost the primordial evil spirit, the black shadow on his body kept dispersing. Dispersing. His energy was crazily draining. Ah! He roared crazily. Kill this animal! Kill this animal! Boom! 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 The incomparably sturdy Skirich imperial capital was instantly closed. Then, an incomparably huge energy shield suddenly enveloped Naga Schwang, wanting to completely imprison Naga Schwang. Roar! However, it was all to no avail. Naga Schwang easily tore the entire energy shield apart. Her sharp claws instantly tore a huge hole in the Skirich imperial capital. Schwanger, run! Yang Dingtian, whose head was dripping with blood, roared loudly. Queen Poisa, who had stopped the soul attack at the last moment, saw everything that happened to her daughter in Yang Dingtian's mind. She also cried out miserably. When Naga Schwang heard Yang Dingtian's roar, she suddenly turned her head and opened her bloody mouth toward him, wanting to bite him to death and devour him alive. At this moment, its eyes were completely bloodthirsty and brutal. It had completely lost all sense of reason. However, it seemed that the only trace of consciousness she had left was abruptly rejecting her own actions. Roar! Naga Schwang roared fiercely. Yang Dingtian's body flew thousands of meters away like a straw, blood spurting out wildly. At the same time, the demon king Wentian's hands danced wildly. Suddenly, the Skirich imperial capital shone brightly. Boundless energy turned into layers of energy shields, trapping Naga Schwanger. Swish! 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 Naga Schwanger, layer by layer, easily tore it apart. Ah! Go to hell, animal! The demon king Wentian roared fiercely. Suddenly, the dome of the Skirich imperial capital condensed into an earth-shattering bolt of lightning. Then, it violently struck Naga Schwang. Boom! 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 The darkness of the entire world was instantly torn apart. Chapter 937. Go to hell, evil creature! Hand over my primordial evil spirit! Boom! 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 Earth-shattering lightning struck the Naga Schwang's body. This lightning was more than 10 times more powerful than Yang Dingtian's mystic fire lightning. Even a saint-level expert would be killed in an instant. However, an absolute insulating shield suddenly grew out of the Naga Schwang's body. Immediately, the shocking lightning struck to the side, unable to hurt it at all. Bang! 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 The Naga Schwang's claws easily tore apart all the energy shields. Then, its huge body slammed into the wall of the sky-reaching imperial capital. The wall of the sky-reaching imperial capital was hundreds of meters thick. Moreover, it was a mixture of metal and energy. At least, with Yang Dingtian's cultivation, he couldn't break it directly. In other words, there was no energy in this world that could directly tear apart the wall of the sky-reaching imperial capital. However, under the crazy impact of the Naga Schwang, boom! A huge hole suddenly appeared in the wall of the sky-reaching imperial capital that was hundreds of meters thick. After a few hundred meters, the wall that was thousands of meters long and wide was instantly shattered. The Naga Schwang suddenly turned into a ray of golden light and rushed out. The demon king Wentian was horrified. He immediately took control of the Empire of Darkness under the Throne of Darkness and hunted down the Naga Schwang. Through the Throne of Darkness and the sky-reaching imperial capital, the demon king Wentian's consciousness directly controlled every unit in the Empire of Darkness. The Naga Shuang flew out desperately. Countless dark dragons and dark wyverns swarmed over from all over the empire. In an instant there were hundreds of dark dragons that were tens of thousands of meters long. Thousands of dark wyverns that were half as fast as lightning surrounded the Naga Shuang and attacked wildly. Although the Naga Shuang was very large, it was only 1/10 the size of the dark dragons. Therefore, in an instant, the Naga Shuang was completely submerged in the dark dragons and wyverns. Boom! 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 The giant dark dragon spat out flames and lightning as it attacked Naga Shuanger. However, even a saint-level expert couldn't withstand such a crazy attack. However, their opponent was the Naga demigod Naga. She was naturally immune to most energy attacks, and with the primordial evil spirit, she was even more unafraid of any damage. Therefore, the result was a one-sided massacre. Naga Shuanger only had one type of attack, and that was to tear them apart. Every part of her thousands of meters long body. Boom, 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 boom. Wherever she passed, the dark wyverns, the dragons, were all shattered. This was an earth-shattering battle sound. It awakened everyone in the Skirich imperial capital. The Queen Devil Queen, Sect Master Wuyu, the Mermaid Queen, Queen Hai Xin, and the Shura Vulture were all awakened. They stood at the window and watched this earth-shattering battle. Prince Li Ming, Dongli, Wu Dozi, Wulingzi, Lenao, and the others. All of them had first-class evil spirits and second-class evil spirits. And all the elites of the demonic Fox clan. Everyone looked at the golden Naga that was crazily slaughtering people in shock. They were truly and thoroughly stunned. Naga. It was the real Naga. Wasn't the Naga completely extinct? How could there be a real Naga in this world? Moreover, it was a golden Naga. How could it be so powerful? This terrifying dark colossal dragon, the Dark Owl Dragon, was a one-sided massacre in front of it. Where did this Naga come from? How could it appear out of thin air? What was her relationship with Yang Dingtian? However, Queen Hai Xin knew where this Naga came from. She knew that she was De Gaoshuang. Yang Dingtian had hidden her really well. He was only willing to take her out now. Queen Hai Xin suddenly felt a burst of shock. Previously, she had fought with Yang Dingtian many times. Previously, Yang Dingtian had encountered many dangers, but he had never taken out this trump card. It was only today that he took out this trump card. It was indeed a terrifying trump card. Once it was taken out, it was earth-shattering. Then, Queen Hai Xin felt a burst of fear. This Naga Shuang was so powerful. If Yang Dingtian had used her to deal with her, she would have been reduced to ashes long ago. As for Duga Xiao, he had mixed feelings as he looked at Naga Shuanger. Although she was not his biological daughter, she could be considered as his adopted daughter. He more or less knew about Shuanger's time. However, he did not expect Shuanger to have become so powerful. With such a powerful Naga, Yang Dingtian had really soared to the sky. The Naga Shuang easily tore through the encirclement of all the dark colossal dragons and dark evil dragons. Then, she suddenly rushed towards the sky of the Empire of Darkness. Boom! Her flying speed was very fast, no less than a few thousand kilometers per hour. Soon, she arrived at the top of the Empire of Darkness. Boom! With a loud bang, the entire Empire of Darkness shook. The Naga Shuang's huge body slammed into the sky, but she could not get out at all. That was because there was dark matter here. The Naga Shuang suddenly became incomparably violent. She tore and bit crazily. Shocking flames were spat out, followed by shocking lightning and deadly poison. However, there was no way to do anything to the dark matter. At the same time, countless dark colossal dragons and dark evil dragons surrounded her again. The Queen Devil Queen, Prince Li Ming, Dongli, Princess Mu Dan, and all the experts with first-class and second-class evil spirits all turned into streams of light and chased after the Naga Shuang frantically. They wanted to capture the Naga Shuang. That's right, now they not only wanted to take back the primeval evil spirit, but also capture this Naga Shuang. The Naga Shuang was firmly trapped by the dark matter and could not escape at all. Countless pursuers behind her were about to surround her again. Whoosh! Suddenly, a stream of light flew out of the Skirich imperial capital. It was Yang Dingtian. Although his celestial chi was all sealed, he could fly out on his flying sword. The demon king Wentian was controlling countless colossal dragons to capture the Naga Shuang. He did not pay attention to Yang Dingtian for the time being because he was seriously injured and his celestial chi was sealed. He could not escape. As a result, Yang Dingtian took the opportunity to fly out on his soul sword. Yang Dingtian chased after the Naga Shuang frantically. He wanted to use the primeval Naga's eyes to melt the dark matter and let the Naga Shuang escape. However, the demon king Wentian soon discovered Yang Dingtian. Immediately, he controlled dozens of dark evil dragons to chase after Yang Dingtian. At the same time, he set up energy ropes one after another and trapped Yang Dingtian. Yang Dingtian had only flown less than 100 miles away on his soul sword when he was trapped by the energy ropes. Surrounded by dozens of dark evil dragons, he could be crushed to pieces at any time. Yang Dingtian struggled frantically but could not move at all. Then, it could only watch helplessly as countless dark colossal dragons, dark vile dragons, infernal queen, dead maiden, grade 1 evil spirits, and grade 2 evil spirits attacked it in a frenzy. Of course, the Naga Shuang would not die. However, its energy would be exhausted. Like humans, the Naga also had a sea of chi. However, her sea of chi was much more astonishing. However, under such a crazy attack, her energy would be depleted. Once the Naga Shuang's energy was exhausted, she would be captured. Once Shuang was captured, the consequences would be unimaginable. It meant that the evil ways had the real Naga. The incomparably furious Naga Shuang crazily slaughtered. Looking at the Devil Queen and the others who were tens of thousands of meters away from her, she was so furious that she wanted to charge forward and tear them apart. However, there were always hundreds of colossal dark dragons and thousands of dark evil dragons surrounding her. These countless colossal dark dragons and dark evil dragons were doing suicidal attacks and were completely cannon fodder. The Naga Shuang killed thousands and tens of thousands of them. However, soon, thousands and tens of thousands of them would appear. That was because they were completely energized and could not be killed at all. The energy array of the Dark Castle was everywhere. After all the colossal dark dragons were crushed, they immediately turned into energy and entered the refining array, and then the fusion array. Instantly, countless colossal dark dragons and dark evil dragons were born again. Therefore, there was no way to kill all of them. After the Naga Shuang crushed these colossal dark dragons and dark evil dragons, she frantically tried to devour their energy. However, she found that the moment they were crushed, all their energy disappeared and was all absorbed by the Empire of Darkness. The entire Empire of Darkness was a constantly circulating energy array. After all the colossal dark dragons were crushed, the energy immediately returned. Therefore, if she continued to kill crazily, she would definitely be captured. Only Yang Dingtian's primeval Naga Eye could help Shuang escape from the Empire of Darkness. It could be said that as long as Shuang escaped from the Empire of Darkness, she would be invincible in the world. Whether it was the Demon King Wentian or the entire Empire of Darkness, they would be completely helpless against her. Unless Queen Medusa personally made a move. However, Yang Dingtian was trapped by the energy chains and could not escape at all. He could not help the Naga Shuang escape at all. Immediately, he could only watch as the Naga Shuang's energy was gradually exhausted and she was getting closer and closer to being captured. The Demon King Wentian completely ignored the dissipating energy and became extremely excited. He was so excited that he almost trembled. Although the process was very frightening, the result was so happy that he almost fainted. It seemed that not only would he obtain a perfect body, but he would also obtain a perfect body. He would also obtain a golden Naga. After he possessed Yang Dingtian and mated with this golden Naga, immediately, this golden Naga would completely become his, and he would also become a demigod. At that time, he would truly become the ruler of this world and have the capital to fight against the god of chaos. Therefore, this was the most exciting moment in his life. Ha 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 ha! The Demon King Wentian laughed crazily. Yang Dingtian, you really have a brilliant plan to bring peace to the world. You've suffered a double loss. Just as the situation was slipping toward the worst, Yang Dingtian was burning with anxiety. Suddenly, a golden light shot out from the Skirich imperial capital, and all the energy ropes around Yang Dingtian were instantly turned into ashes. The Mermaid Queen. It was the Mermaid Queen Violets, this crazy woman. She flew to Yang Dingtian's side and slapped Yang Dingtian. Bastard, you didn't choose me even when it was a 5-3 battle. How dare you not go to my room? I'll beat you to death. The Mermaid Queen beat Yang Dingtian violently. It was really a violent beating. Yang Dingtian spat out blood and felt like his entire body was about to fall apart. The Demon King Wentian exclaimed, Violets, don't be rash. After I capture the Naga, you can beat Yang Dingtian as much as you want. I'm beating my man. What does it have to do with you? The Mermaid Queen scolded angrily. Then, she slapped Yang Dingtian's stomach. Yang Dingtian was about to slap her. However, all the seals on his Xian meridians were unlocked. In an instant, his Xian meridians and energy reserve were unimpeded. Swish, 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 swish. The Mermaid Queen pulled out her sword and killed all the dark owl dragons surrounding Yang Dingtian. Bastard Yang Dingtian, how dare you not come to my room? Take a look. Among the women who entered the room, which one of them came to help you? Only I rushed out to help you. You are truly blind. The Mermaid Queen killed the Darkness Owl Dragon while attacking Yang Dingtian. I was wrong, I was wrong, I was wrong. Yang Dingtian allowed her to beat him up. He pulled her hand and quickly flew toward the Naga Shuang. Shuanger, I'm coming to save you! Yang Dingtian roared. Chapter 938. Even with Yang Dingtian's roar, the Queen Devil Queen's subordinates didn't disperse. Instead, they continued to surround and attack Naga Shuang. They knew that if they didn't exhaust Naga's energy, they wouldn't be able to capture her. As for Yang Dingtian, as long as the Queen Devil Queen made a move, he would be captured in a matter of minutes. The Devil Queen and the others didn't make a move. The Demon King Wentian was controlling countless dark dragons, and the dark dragons were attacking Naga Shuang as cannon fodder. Once the encirclement weakened and Naga Shuang broke through, she would attack the Queen Devil Queen and the others. The balance would be broken in an instant. Thus, even though Yang Dingtian roared to save Naga Shuang, almost no one made a move to stop him. Yang Dingtian immediately flew toward Naga Shuang. The Mermaid Queen hesitated for a moment, then followed Yang Dingtian. The Demon King Wentian was immediately aghast. The Mermaid Queen was a saint-tier powerhouse, and was on par with the Queen Devil Queen. If she joined the battle, then the balance they had worked so hard to maintain would be destroyed. Violets? Are you crazy? Have you forgotten the promise we made over 100 years ago? The Demon King Wentian said coldly. Violets said, But you were handsome and mighty back then. Now that you're like this, it's hard for me not to fall in love with you. The Demon King Wentian was so angry that he trembled. You saved Yang Dingtian just now. I'll treat it as a moment of folly and won't pursue the matter. If you still dare to help Yang Dingtian, then you'll be my enemy, the enemy of my empire of darkness. The Mermaid Queen sneered. So what? Since I've already started, I'll accept any consequences. The Demon King Wentian suddenly had a headache. This Mermaid Queen was a crazy woman. She didn't do things rationally. It's useless to reason with her. It's also useless to threaten her. She could do whatever she wanted. The Demon King Wentian immediately said, Wu, I'll have to ask you to take action this time. Help me stop that muddle-headed woman Violets. The Demon King Wentian's words were very cunning. It sounded as if he had a very close relationship with the Mermaid Queen. And the tone in which he asked Wu to take action was also particularly intimate. Wu coldly replied, I'm sorry, Your Majesty Demon King. It's my first marriage, so I don't have much strength. The Demon King Wentian was shocked when he heard this. The Mermaid Queen was a crazy woman. She would do whatever she wanted. Therefore, although her helping Yang Dingtian was a blow to the Demon King Wentian, it wasn't too serious. But Wu Yu's attitude was very, very serious. Because Wu Yu was another saint-ranked expert. Of course, this didn't count. Wu Yu also represented part of the Little Western Paradise's position. More importantly, Wu Yu seemed to have incomparably deep feelings for the Demon King Wentian. She had helped the Demon King Wentian countless times. For the Demon King Wentian, she had even betrayed her own Little Western Paradise's position, harming the benefits of Little Western Paradise. The Demon King Wentian's foster son, Wu Yu Ming, was defeated by her and became his foster mother. Therefore, Wentian felt that his relationship with Wu Yu should be very, very close. It was even unbreakable, second only to the nihility Piao Ling. Moreover, a woman like Wu Yu didn't seem like the kind of person who would betray her feelings. Of course, he was marrying Wu Yu to Yang Dingtian. But before that, he had sincerely explained everything to her. It was to let Wu Yu become a mother and give birth to a child. Moreover, in the future, Yang Dingtian's body would be occupied by the Demon King Wentian. Most importantly, Wu Yu placed a lot of emphasis on spiritual communication and resonance. She didn't place much importance on the physical aspect. Therefore, when he heard Wu Yu's attitude, the Demon King Wentian's mind shook violently, entering a short circuit for a short time. Then, it was a sky-high anger and pain, as well as the feeling of being betrayed by a woman. How could this be? How could this be? How could Wu Yu betray me? How could she betray our deep feelings? The Demon King Wentian's heart felt like it was being stabbed by a knife. He really felt like his wife had betrayed him. Sigh, after the Demon King Wentian sat on the throne of darkness, his unique charm and sensitive emotions had gradually disappeared. It was as if he had become an ice-cold robot. Therefore, he could no longer grasp Wu Yu's thoughts. He didn't know that in Wu Yu's heart, he was like a broken male lead from a TV drama. Not only was his face disfigured, his temperament had also changed. He was no longer a person. Therefore, he could no longer bear Wu Yu's feelings. He had completely misjudged Wu Yu's feelings, and he had also completely overestimated them. Suddenly, the Demon King Wentian said coldly, "Wu Yu, do you know what you're doing?" "Of course I know, Your Excellency Demon King," Wu Yu said indifferently. Good. The Demon King Wentian said hoarsely. Every word was said through gritted teeth. After a long time, he said, "Friends from the Fox clan, I wonder if I can obtain your friendship?" His meaning was very simple. He hoped that all the half-saints and above of the Fox clan would move out to intercept Yang Dingtian and the Mermaid Queen. At this moment, the Demon King Wentian's tragedy of not having a body was completely revealed. He didn't have a body to begin with, and he had also lost the primordial evil spirit. Therefore, he didn't dare to leave the throne of darkness. Otherwise, his cultivation energy would dissipate like snow. This was because he could only condense his energy in the special energy field of the Skirich imperial capital. Moreover, a part of the Skirich imperial capital had been destroyed by the Naga Shuang. Once he left the throne, he would lose his energy supply and his cultivation would drop. At this moment, all the evil ways experts had gone to deal with the Naga Shuang. Therefore, he could only ask the half-saints of the Fox clan to deal with Yang Dingtian and the Mermaid Queen. The Golden Ah clan's young master Yao Ming had long hated Yang Dingtian to the core. When he heard the Demon King Wentian's words, he immediately led the half-saints of the Fox clan to intercept Yang Dingtian and the Mermaid Queen. Although the Mermaid Queen was extremely powerful, they had dozens of half-saints. Together with the Shura Vulture and Queen Haixian, they were more or less enough. "I am willing to serve your majesty, the Demon King, and obtain your friendship," Yao Ming said loudly. The Demon King Wentian said, "Queen Haixian of the Naga Empire, are you willing to receive my olive branch?" Although Queen Haixian wasn't a half-saint, her cultivation was much stronger than Yang Dingtian's. At this moment, the Demon King Wentian invited her to fight and intercept Yang Dingtian and the Mermaid Queen. Then, the Demon King Wentian said, "Shura Vulture, you are the powerful Shura Celestial Spirit Master. Control all the Legion of Doom and kill Yang Dingtian and the Violets." Queen Hai Xian suddenly fell into an incomparable dilemma. She didn't want to deal with Yang Dingtian, but refusing to obey the Demon King's orders would have very serious consequences. Immediately after, she recalled that the door that Yang Dingtian had opened to her had already been closed. When they were in the bridal chamber, she didn't take the initiative to stand on his side. Yang Dingtian had already closed the door to her. In addition, he had the Naga de Gaoshuang, so he would definitely choose to resurrect Queen Poisa. At that time, even if she could survive, she would definitely lose the Naga Empire. Therefore, it seemed like she still had a choice, but in fact, she had no choice. Suddenly, Queen Hai Xian flew out and said, "Yes, Your Majesty." Yang Dingtian's brows twitched. This Queen of the Sea Heart was still so good at scheming. She was still so rational and utilitarian. Finally, she was completely on the opposite side of him. Now that he had chosen a side, there was no way to salvage the situation. And the vulture, the joy that Yang Dingtian had brought to her soul and body, was still incomparably deep and clear. She really didn't want to hurt Yang Dingtian at all. But compared to that, she was more afraid of losing everything. Losing her Shura body, losing her incomparably powerful energy, and losing her power in the Empire of Darkness. However, she definitely didn't want to hurt Yang Dingtian. Therefore, for a moment, she was completely at a loss. Then, she remembered what Yang Dingtian had said. He wouldn't ask for too much from her. He only asked that after she escaped, she still had the possibility of returning to Yang Dingtian's side in the future. So, she decided. Next, she was responsible for attacking the Mermaid Queen and wouldn't touch Yang Dingtian at all. This was a vulture that was greedy for vanity, yet naive and simple. Suddenly, she gritted her teeth and flew to Queen Hai Xian's side. Suddenly, two battlefields were formed in the Empire of Darkness. The Demon King Wentian controlled countless dark dragons to attack Naga Shuang. All the experts of the evil ways attacked Naga Shuang to capture her. On the other side, Queen Hai Xian, Shura Vulture, and dozens of demi-sage foxes besieged Yang Dingtian and the Mermaid Queen. On the other side, it was only a matter of time before Naga Shuang ran out of energy. On the other hand, Yang Dingtian's side was completely unpredictable. Dozens of demi-sage foxes, especially a Shura, and a 1,000-year-old female snake that was close to the sage level. In this battle, Yang Dingtian's ability was very limited. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. Dozens of demi-sage foxes, Queen Hai Xian, and Shura Vulture flew towards Yang Dingtian and the Mermaid Queen like meteors. They were completely outnumbered. At this moment, Wu Yu suddenly said, "Demi-foxes, as a race of the Little Western Paradise, why are you interfering with the affairs of humans? Once Yang Dingtian and his Naga Shuang escape, can you bear the consequences?" The experts of the Demi-Fox clan were stunned. The Demon King Wentian raged. "Wu Yu, not only are you not willing to help me, but you are also preventing your people from helping me. Are you trying to make me your enemy?" Wu Yu smiled and said, "If you open your mouth again, I might really do that." The Demon King Wentian was so angry that he did not make a sound. If they angered Wu Yu and she really helped Yang Dingtian, the consequences would be too severe. Dozens of demi-sage foxes were no match for two sage foxes no matter what. After hearing Wu Yu's words, the experts of the Fox clan were startled. Wu Yu was the former speaker's dream lover, plus she was the daughter of the former speaker, plus she was the only descendant of the Fox clan and the Silent clan. She was very famous and very influential. "Disciples and allies of the Shadow Spear clan, if you make a move against Yang Dingtian, I believe that when we return to the Little Western Paradise, Demon's Wrath II will personally kill you," Wu Yu continued. Whoosh 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 whoosh. Immediately, more than half of the demi-sage foxes chose to withdraw. Although Yao Ming hated Yang Dingtian to the bone, he still put benefits above everything. He turned around and asked, "Your Excellency Wu Yu, are you sure about this?" Wu Yu said, "I am very sure. If you act rashly, you will destroy the absolute position of the Golden Ah clan, and even tear apart the alliance between the Golden Ah clan and the Shadow Spear clan." The young master of the Golden Ah clan narrowed his eyes and looked at Yang Dingtian. Although he was unwilling, he still led the other half of the Demi-Fox clan's experts away. Suddenly, only Queen Hai Xin and Shura Vulture were facing Yang Dingtian and the Mermaid Queen. The Queen of the Sea Heart's expression turned incredibly ugly. As for Shura Vulture, she lowered her head and did not dare to look at Yang Dingtian. However, if that was the case, the battle here would become meaningless. Yang Dingtian and the Mermaid Queen quickly rushed to a place tens of thousands of meters away from the Queen Devil Queen. "Violets, protect me!" Yang Dingtian said loudly. "Why?" the Mermaid Queen asked. "Ziluolan, I beg you to protect me," Yang Dingtian requested. "Okay, remember your promise. Give me 100,000 miles of sea," the Mermaid Queen said. "Got it," Yang Dingtian said loudly. Then, he began to release the primal chaos demonic flame, million demonic flame, and void-splitting flame. Finally, he mixed in the swirling dark Xian flame. Only a little bit. His Xian Qi was condensed to the extreme. Whoosh 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 whoosh. 3 primal chaos Xian flames flew above the Queen Devil Queen and the others and then crashed into them. The Demon King, Dead Princess, and the others were complaining. Facing Yang Dingtian's Xian flame lightning, they could easily dodge it. However, the Naga Shuang's attack formation could not be messed up. Once it was messed up, the Naga Shuang might rush out. One had to know that from the beginning until now, this golden Naga had already killed tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dark dragons and dark vile dragons. "Everyone do not move! Take on Yang Dingtian's Xian flame lightning!" the Queen Devil Queen ordered. "Yes!" everyone shouted in unison. Boom! Like the explosion of a nuclear bomb, the terrifying Xian flame lightning tore through the dark void. Although Yang Dingtian's cultivation was only at level 15, the power of his Xian flame lightning exceeded level 20, or even higher. Wulingzi could not bear the fear of death. He did not have any evil spirits with him. Suddenly, he disobeyed the order and ran away as fast as he could before the Xian flame lightning exploded. Boom 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 boom. Suddenly, all the evil ways experts below the half-saint level were turned into ashes, leaving only the Xian meridians, sea of qi, heart, and brain protected by the evil spirits. Even the attacks of the half-step saints stopped in an instant. Their bodies were instantly charred black. "Charge!" Yang Dingtian said. Then, the Mermaid Queen grabbed Yang Dingtian and rushed toward the Naga Shuang's encirclement. As long as they reached the Naga, they would win. Chapter 939. The Mermaid Queen was a saint-class expert. Breaking through the encirclement of the evil ways was a piece of cake. However, the next encirclement was made up of countless dark colossal dragons and dark wyverns. There were tens of thousands of them, and their numbers were endless. If they rushed in, these dark dragons would definitely attack the Mermaid Queen and Yang Dingtian. Naga Shuang would be able to withstand this attack, but the Mermaid Queen and Yang Dingtian would not be able to withstand this attack. Once they rushed in, they would probably be blasted to death by the lightning and fire. The Mermaid Queen said, "Open an exit in another direction. Let the Naga break through the encirclement and rush out from here." Yang Dingtian nodded. Then, the Mermaid Queen flew up with Yang Dingtian. The flying speed of a saint-class expert was unparalleled. It did not take long for them to reach the dome of the Empire of Darkness at an altitude of a few thousand miles. Above them was the boundless dark matter, the shield of the entire Empire of Darkness. They were less than 1,000 miles away from the Naga Shuang. Yang Dingtian took out the eye of the primeval Naga from his spatial ring and melted a huge hole in it. At this moment, the Mermaid Queen's eyes lit up. If I snatch this treasure away from you now, do you have the strength to resist? Yang Dingtian was stunned. In the next second, the Mermaid Queen snatched the eye of the primeval Naga and sneered at Yang Dingtian. Yang Dingtian, you've been tricked. I've always been on the side of the Demon King Wentian. The reason I'm here to help you is to cheat you of this treasure, ha ha ha. Yang Dingtian couldn't help but be startled and horrified. Then, the Demon King Wentian's voice rang out. Ha ha ha, Violets, I didn't see wrong. You, the noble Mermaid Queen, did not betray our alliance. The Mermaid Queen immediately turned hostile. Dream on. I'm just toying with you. After that, the Mermaid Queen returned the eye of the primeval Naga to Yang Dingtian. This crazy woman, at a time like this, still has the mood to joke like this. It would really scare people to death. Yang Dingtian couldn't take it anymore. He forgot that she was a martial saint and slapped her hard on the butt. Ah! The Mermaid Queen cried out in shock. Then, with a red face, he said, "Hit me again and I'll forgive you." Yang Dingtian was completely speechless. Then, he didn't have time to accompany this crazy woman. He then turned to Naga Shuang and said, "Shuang, this way. Naga Shuang heard Yang Dingtian's roar. At this time, she did not know who Yang Dingtian was. Her eyes were completely bloodshot. However, when she saw the melted passage above Yang Dingtian's head, she knew that she could escape from here. Immediately, she continued to kill crazily and wanted to charge over. Therefore, the encirclement of the dark colossal dragon and the dark wyvern was in imminent danger. Naga, who saw hope of escape, was extremely lethal. Because Naga's combat power had skyrocketed, the encirclement of the energy wyverns was getting thinner and thinner. It also took time for the nearest dark castle to refine and melt into the dark colossal dragon again. Therefore, this cycle could not be kept up. Roar! Seeing the hope of escaping, Naga's entire body suddenly burst out with boundless golden light. Wherever this golden light passed, all the dark colossal dragons and dark wyverns were turned into ashes. In an instant, the encirclement of the dark colossal dragons and dark wyverns was in imminent danger. Previously, Naga Shuang had dozens of Earth Slayers. Now, it was hundreds of Earth Slayers. Of course, at this time, Naga Shuang was completely overdrawing her remaining energy. Soon, her energy was about to be exhausted. However, the Demon King Wentian could not hold on any longer. Although dark colossal dragons and dark wyverns continued to charge out from the dark castle. However, they could not keep up with Naga Shuang's slaughtering speed. The encirclement was about to be broken. Once the encirclement was broken, it would be as difficult as ascending to the sky to catch this golden Naga. The Demon King Wentian immediately shouted, "Shura Vulture, immediately go forward and resurrect all the shattered dark colossal dragons on the spot." Shura Vulture hesitated for a moment, and immediately flew up. After flying for thousands of miles, Shura Vulture floated beside Queen Devil Queen. "Let everyone see your irreplaceable role in the Empire of Darkness," Queen Devil Queen said. Then she glanced at Walingzi, who had fled into the distance in a daze. At the critical moment of the battle, Walingzi chose to escape in order to avoid Yang Dingtian's mystic flame lightning. This was tantamount to betraying the Demon King Wentian's will once again. Therefore, his heart was completely filled with fear and horror. Seeing Vulture's gaze, Walingzi immediately revealed a pleading look. Queen Devil Queen's meaning was very clear. If they wanted to save Walingzi, it would depend on Shura Vulture's performance. If you can help His Majesty the Demon King capture this Naga, then Walingzi's life can be saved. Otherwise, Queen Devil Queen said lightly. Vulture trembled slightly, then said in a low voice, "Yes." She closed her eyes slightly, and a pair of gorgeous wings suddenly grew out of Vulture's back. Boom! A raging flame suddenly burned fiercely from her body. The dark red flames instantly formed her new body. Then, she waved her gorgeous demon hands. In an instant, her entire body turned into a mysterious and powerful energy field. She seemed to be the weaving hands of a mysterious life. Huff, 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 huff. Suddenly, the dark wyvern and dark owl dragon, which had been shattered by Naga Shuang, began to revive and reassemble under this pair of demon hands without needing to go through the refining and fusion arrays. An incomparably terrifying and mysterious scene appeared. The gigantic dark dragons had already been reduced to dust and ashes. At this moment, they condensed out of thin air and were reborn again, attacking Naga Shuang crazily again. This was the magic power of a celestial spiritualist. This was the strategic position that Shura Vulture could not replace at all. Within the territory of the Empire of Darkness, the effect of her magic power was not very prominent. Once the Doomsday War broke out, the Legion of Doom of the Empire of Darkness would leave the Empire of Darkness and enter the human countries. They would not be able to be replenished by the Dark Castle and the Energy Array. They would not be able to complete the refining and fusion. Therefore, once a war broke out in the human countries, there would be one less legion for every death. At this time, the celestial spiritualist Vulture would become the ruler of the entire battlefield. She could use her heaven-defying energy to revive all the dead Legion of Doom on the spot. She could turn the entire Legion of Doom into an undying and indestructible army. In this way, the Legion of Doom would be absolutely invincible. The appearance of Shura Vulture instantly reversed the entire battlefield. Naga Shuang was about to break through the encirclement. However, because of the appearance of Shura Vulture, the dark colossal dragon that had been reduced to ashes was revived on the spot. Therefore, the encirclement that was about to be broken instantly thickened and strengthened again. Moreover, the number of dark colossal dragons and dark wyverns attacking her was increasing. Just now, she had overdrawn her remaining energy to carry out the final massacre of the dark colossal dragons. She was about to break through the encirclement. However, because of the appearance of Shura Vulture, all her previous efforts were wasted. The energy in her body was decreasing. The encirclement was getting thicker and thicker. The hope of breaking through was getting slimmer and slimmer. Once her energy was exhausted, she would be captured. Once Naga Shuang was captured, the consequences would be unimaginable. Roar, roar, roar! Naga Shuang, whose golden light was getting dimmer and dimmer, suddenly let out a roar. This roar was filled with anger, despair, and sorrow. Countless dark colossal dragons and dark wyverns continued to launch suicidal attacks on her. With every attack, these dark colossal dragons were crushed into pieces. However, the light on Naga Shuang's body also dimmed. The moment when her energy was completely exhausted was coming. Roar, roar! Naga Shuang suddenly let out a sorrowful cry. Yang Dingtian was burning with anxiety. He wanted to fly over to save Shuang. Are you crazy? Do you want to die? The Mermaid Queen quickly caught Yang Dingtian. Even if I want to die, I want to go. Yang Dingtian roared. I can't watch my wife be captured. Your wife? Open your eyes and look carefully. That is a demigod, that is Naga, that is the most powerful creature in history. The Mermaid Queen said loudly. If she can't do anything, you will only be courting death if you go. Let's take this opportunity to leave quickly. Otherwise, when they capture Naga, we won't be able to leave. No, that's impossible! Yang Dingtian shouted. Even if I die, I won't abandon Shuang. I can't let Shuang fall into Wentian's hands. Very touching, but it's completely useless. The Mermaid Queen said. If we don't escape and fall into the hands of the Demon King, I won't be able to escape. Of course, I won't be able to die even if I want to. As for you, your body will be completely taken over by him. He will take everything from you, humiliate your wife, and trample on your human kingdom. When that time comes, you will suffer a fate worse than death. As the Mermaid Queen spoke, she carried Yang Dingtian and flew towards the hole formed by the dark matter. She was right. Right now, all the forces of the evil ways were used to capture Naga. Therefore, this was Yang Dingtian's last chance to escape. Once Naga was captured, it would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens for Yang Dingtian to escape. Once Yang Dingtian was captured again, then it would be a hellish ending. His soul sword would be taken away and he would no longer be able to stop the demon king Wentian from taking over his body. Then everything would be taken away by Wentian, and he would never be able to make a comeback. At this moment, Naga Shuang was already drowned by countless black energy dragons. Only a series of wails could be heard. No, no, no! The mermaid queen hugged Yang Dingtian and fled with all her might. The situation was already completely irreversible. However, at this moment, Yang Dingtian's soul sword suddenly trembled. Roar! Then, Yang Dingtian's soul sword roared in his heart. This roar didn't come from the soul sword, Cho. Instead, it came from the soul energy of the Naga royalty. Roar! Roar! This roar sounded very similar to Naga Shuang's roar. It resonated with Naga Shuang's roar. Go! Yang Dingtian ordered in his mind. Suddenly, his soul sword, which was close to the Emperor grade, flew toward Naga Shuang. When the Demon King Wentian and Devil Queen saw Yang Dingtian's soul sword, they revealed a disdainful smile. That's right, Yang Dingtian was able to cultivate a soul sword at his age. It was extremely shocking. However, the cultivation of this soul sword was so weak that it couldn't even withstand a single blow. Yang Dingtian wanted to use this soul sword to save Naga. It was completely a fool's dream. With the strength of this soul sword, even second-grade evil spirits and evil ways could easily destroy it. If Yang Dingtian did this, not only would he not be able to save Naga, he would also lose a soul sword that was close to Emperor grade for nothing. Therefore, almost all the experts ignored Yang Dingtian's soul sword. In the blink of an eye, this soul sword flew into the densely packed huge dark dragon's encirclement. In the blink of an eye, it could no longer be seen as it was completely submerged. The people of evil ways let out a burst of ridicule. As for Shura Vulture, she felt a burst of pain in her heart. Seeing Yang Dingtian so powerless, she no longer felt happy in her heart. Instead, she felt very sad. But to want her to help Yang Dingtian, she really didn't dare. However, at this moment, roar! Suddenly, Yang Dingtian's soul sword roared towards the sky. It was the roar of Naga royalty. Then, a shocking sword aura, a few hundred li long soul sword aura appeared in the sky. Swish! This shocking golden sword aura slashed down. Chapter 940. When this shocking sword light slashed down, the entire empire of darkness resounded with the roar of the Naga royalty. At the same time, the entire world seemed to be torn apart by the shocking light. A light shadow of the Naga royalty that spanned tens of thousands of meters suddenly swept across the entire sky of the Empire of Darkness. Then, the thousands of dark dragons and dark vile dragons within sight were instantly turned into ashes. Such an astonishing sword soul, it was completely heaven-defying and powerful. An incomparably huge crack appeared in the encirclement formed by countless dark dragons and dark vile dragons. Then, this unbreakable encirclement was directly broken just like that. Whether it was the Demon King Wentian using the energy array of the Dark Castle or Shura Vulture using the Celestial Spiritualist Resurrection spell, it was too late. Because the opportunity had passed in an instant. Although Naga Shuang's eyes were red from the killing and she had almost completely lost her mind, her instinct to escape still existed. The moment the crack appeared in the encirclement. Whoosh! Naga Shuang suddenly shot out along the crack created by the heaven-defying sword soul and rushed out of the encirclement. The Demon King Wentian turned pale with horror and exclaimed, Quick, stop her! The Demon Queen's dead concubine led all the first-grade evil spirits and second-grade evil spirits to rush forward and block Naga Shuang's path. Naga Shuang was severely injured and did not have much energy left. However, the amount of energy she had left was still extremely shocking. Her speed had completely turned into a stream of light, rushing in the direction of Yang Dingtian. The near-Emperor grade soul sword also followed and flew in the direction of Yang Dingtian. The speed of the two had reached the extreme, it was completely dozens of times the speed of sound. Queen Devil Queen led the experts of the evil ways, like dozens of meteors, rushed toward Naga Shuang. Boom! In the blink of an eye, they crashed into each other like comets crashing into Earth. Even the Devil Queen, a saint-level powerhouse, spat out blood. Countless cracks appeared on her body, and countless amounts of energy gushed out. As for the other half-saint-level experts, all of their bodies had been completely annihilated. Only the profound veins, energy sea, heart, and brain that were protected by the evil spirits remained. One saint, several half-saints, and many great Grand Masters could not stop Naga Shuang for even a moment. At the same time, Wu Yu from the Netherworld Sea soared into the sky and flew towards Yang Dingtian. After the bodies of many evil ways experts were reduced to ashes, under the influence of the evil spirits, countless blood vessels, bones, and muscles grew out. After a short while, all of the evil ways experts had recovered. Even their energy armors were intact. Then, under the leadership of the Queen Devil Queen, all the experts of evil ways chased after them. After a moment of hesitation, Wu Yu from the Netherworld Sea also turned into a stream of light and flew towards Yang Dingtian. Soon, Naga Shuang arrived at Yang Dingtian's side after flying for thousands of miles. Without saying a word, Yang Dingtian raised the primeval Naga's eye and quickly melted the dark matter in front of him. He brought the Mermaid Queen and Naga Shuang into the tunnel of dark matter and left the Empire of Darkness. No! 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 The Demon King Wentian let out an earth-shattering roar. All the castles in the Empire of Darkness were trembling. At this moment, he hated the fact that he did not have a body. If he had a body, he would not have given Yang Dingtian any chance, and he would not have been so helpless against the Mermaid Queen. If he had a body, today's events would not have happened. The Mermaid Queen would not have dared to betray him, and Wu Yu would not have dared to betray him. Yang Dingtian and Naga had no chance to escape. Ah! 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 The Demon King Wentian let out a series of earth-shattering roars. Whoosh 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 whoosh. Yang Dingtian brought the Mermaid Queen and Naga Shuang with him at a speed of thousands of miles per hour as they crazily shuttled through the dark matter. The cave of dark matter behind them quickly merged again. Soon, Yang Dingtian and Naga completely disappeared into the Empire of Darkness without a trace. However, the Queen Devil Queen still did not give up. She quickly caught up to Yang Dingtian, took out her magic wand, melted the dark matter, and chased after him crazily with dozens of experts of evil ways. Even at this point, she would not give up. However, after just entering the dark matter, Wu Yu, who was also a saint-level expert, followed closely behind and appeared beside the Queen Devil Queen. Wu Yu, no matter what you do, I hope you've thought it through, the Queen Devil Queen said coldly. Wu Yu smiled and said, I just want to go home. Is there a problem? The Queen Devil Queen looked at her coldly, and did not say anything. At this moment, she could not fall out with Wu Yu, because the other party was also a saint-level expert. More importantly, Wu Yu represented the will of the Little Western Paradise to a large extent. Just like that, Yang Dingtian continued to fly upwards. 1,000 miles, 2,000 miles, 3,000 miles, 4,000 miles. After flying through nearly 5,000 miles of dark matter, the scene before him suddenly changed. It was no longer dark matter in front of him, but nothingness. This nothingness was only a few hundred miles. Flying further up, there were hard stones and half-melted magma. At this moment, there was no need for Yang Dingtian to make a move. Naga Shuang flew to the front. She did not need to crash at all. Her flying speed was so fast that the shock wave produced instantly shattered the hard stones in front of her. Less than 15 minutes later, more than 1,000 miles of rock layer was directly penetrated. In front of him, there was a sudden bright light. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh! Naga Shuang rushed into the air. Yang Dingtian and the Mermaid Queen also rushed out of the rock layer. This was the demon's domain. That's right, the so-called Empire of Darkness was 7,000 to 8,000 miles below the demon's domain. Of course, it was also under the yin-yang mirror. Under the world of ice and snow, it even extended all the way to the Dongli grassland, spanning more than 100,000 miles. After entering the air of the demon's domain. This is the human country? The Mermaid Queen was extremely excited. Yang Dingtian was also shocked. Finally, they had returned to the human country. It had been a few months. First, it was the Mermaid Empire, then the Empire of Darkness. It had been a few months. Now, they had finally returned to the human country. Although this was the demon's domain, and it was a desolate place where even the air was highly toxic and the sun could not be seen, Yang Dingtian still felt extremely close to it. Then, the Mermaid Queen curled her lips and said, "The human country is not so good. The air is so dirty." Yang Dingtian was about to explain that this was the demon's domain, and the human country was not like this. After the golden Naga Shuang left the sky, she suddenly let out an extremely carefree cry. Then, she quickly flew towards the west. "Shuang, or wait for me!" Yang Dingtian shouted and then chased after her frantically. The Mermaid Queen suddenly stopped and said, "Yang Dingtian, go and chase after Naga, but you have to pretend that you are flying together with her. At the very least, you have to act like you are in love with her, as if Naga is always by your side." "I understand," Yang Dingtian said loudly. Then, he directly used the demon's spirit mist cloak flash and quickly caught up with the Naga Shuang, trying to fly alongside her. Bang, 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 bang! Like a meteor, the dozens of experts led by the Devil Queen all broke out of the ground and flew into the sky. Then, they saw Yang Dingtian and Naga's figures flying away intimately together. Even at this time, the Devil Queen still did not give up, because Naga's energy was almost exhausted. This was the last chance to capture Naga. "Chase after them and capture Naga and Yang Dingtian." With her order, dozens of figures quickly chased after Yang Dingtian and Naga. Whoosh! Then, a beautiful golden figure floated in the air. It was the Mermaid Queen Violets. "Violets, don't make mistakes again," the Devil Queen said coldly. "Don't forget, behind us is Queen Medusa, and in front of us is just a newly transformed Naga." The Mermaid Queen Violets slowly condensed an energy long sword and said, "I've long disliked you. Today is a good time to have a showdown." The Devil Queen's eyes turned cold. It seemed that if she did not deal with the Mermaid Queen, it would be impossible to chase after Yang Dingtian and Naga Shuang. "Violets, since you want to die, don't blame me," the Devil Queen said coldly. Boom! Then, a huge pair of dark wings suddenly appeared. The Devil Queen had become the real Devil Queen. An incomparably powerful energy instantly shrouded heaven and earth. At the same time, Dongli, Mudan, Li Ming, and the remaining first-class and second-class evil spirits formed a large formation. "Kill this mermaid," ordered the Devil Queen, dead concubine. Killing the Mermaid Queen was also very important for the Empire of Darkness at this time, because the Mermaid Queen had now become one of Yang Dingtian's people. Killing her was equivalent to cutting off Yang Dingtian's arm. After killing the mermaid, within 2 hours there was still time to capture Yang Dingtian's family and force him and Naga to appear. In short, they must not let Naga recover her strength. Once Naga recovered her strength, in the vast human kingdom, it would be impossible for the evil ways to catch her. If it were not for the evil spirits, Naga Shuang would have killed these masters of evil ways countless times. "Do your best to kill the mermaid in half an hour," the Devil Queen said. "Yes," all the masters of evil ways shouted. Then, the entire formation rotated rapidly. Dozens of masters of evil ways formed a large circle. The Devil Queen became the center of this circle and firmly restrained the Mermaid Queen. "Attack!" the Devil Queen ordered. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Dozens of masters of evil ways shot out the sword light in their hands crazily, attacking the Mermaid Queen. The Devil Queen only needed to do one thing, and that was to use her energy to entangle the Mermaid Queen forever. The Mermaid Queen and the Devil Queen's cultivation were about the same. Therefore, the Devil Queen could not kill the mermaid, but so what? A few half-step saints and dozens of infinite great masters attacked the Mermaid Queen crazily. In half an hour, the Mermaid Queen would receive tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even millions of sword attacks. Once her energy was weakened to 80%, the Devil Queen would attack with all her strength. At that time, the Mermaid Queen would definitely die. Therefore, the Devil Empress' dead concubine had said that an hour was definitely enough to kill the Mermaid Queen. The Mermaid Queen used her own energy barrier and body to withstand the attacks of dozens of evil Tao experts before engaging in a great battle with the Demon Queen, dead concubine. Only half a quarter of an hour later, she had already entered the edge of danger. Therefore, she thought of a way to escape. Whoosh 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 whoosh. She kept flashing and changing in the sky, but it was useless. The formation of dozens of evil ways experts always followed her like a shadow. Most importantly, the Devil Queen, who was also a saint-level expert, always restrained her, so that she could not escape and could not attack the other evil ways experts and destroy the formation. The Mermaid Queen turned into a ray of light and jumped crazily at thousands of miles per hour. However, she could not escape from the evil ways' formation and the Devil Queen. Whoosh 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 whoosh. The formation formed by dozens of evil ways experts continued to attack crazily. The Mermaid Queen already felt an incomparable crisis, and even the arrival of death. Greetings, Yang Dintian. I've really lost my mind. I actually made an enemy of the evil ways and stood on your side. I'm going to die now. The Mermaid Queen cursed in her heart. At this moment, a golden light flew over from the east. A golden light flew over from the west. Yang Dintian was from the west. He had turned back. Wu Yu was from the Netherworld Sea to the east. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.